A girl with black hair stands in front of a window with bars. They ask her for help, begging her to save them. You can see the fear and determination in their eyes, and the atmosphere around them is grim. Kneeling in front of her is her father, an elderly man. He tells her that this is his last request. The father hopes that through the girl's intervention, everything will be resolved, showing desperation on his face. The girl's mother, dressed in a red dress, shouts that they can survive if the girl sacrifices herself. She accuses her daughter of forcing her father to fall on his knees because of her, expressing her rage and pain. The young man, pointing at the girl, asks her if she wants to dishonor the family that raised her. He urges her to live up to her name and become a heroine, showing his contempt. The girl replies that she is tired of listening to their speeches. She accuses them of talking nonsense and shows her intransigence to their requests with a cold expression on her face. The weeping mother holds a handkerchief to her eyes. She states that it is not easy for her to sacrifice the daughter she has raised with love, but now is the moment when the girl can repay their mercy. The girl, sneering, says that for them, love is leaving a child in an icy room with no attention. She accuses them all of shamelessness, showing her determination to resist their demands. She reflects on the fact that she has lived 99 different lives. Her gaze is directed into the distance, and her mind flashes through memories and thoughts of a past full of pain and suffering. As she gathers power and memories from her past lives, she feels the accumulation of a mysterious power. Her determination to save the world grows stronger despite all the trials she has been through. For her, saving the world at the cost of her life has never been something great. She is ready to sacrifice herself for a higher purpose, accepting her fate with complete determination and humility. The girl accuses her family of shamelessness, refusing to see their boasts of beneficence. She feels contempt for people who use her for their own gain and coldly rebuffs them. The father kneels down, thanks his daughter, and rejoices that their family will be able to live normally again. He expresses hope that things will get back to normal thanks to his daughter's sacrifice, but her face remains impassive. The girl says tiredly that it's time to stop playing the family game because it's not working. She points out that their actions don't make sense, and even kneeling won't change her mind. With rod in hand, she announces that her miserable life of not waiting for good times will stay with them. She does this with a sneer, showing that she has no intention of sacrificing herself for them. The father asks in bewilderment what his daughter is talking about. He cannot understand what she is up to, and his face expresses confusion and anxiety. This is the moment when he realizes that he has lost control. The screen reveals that the heroine who will save the world has been deceived, even by the imperial family. The picture comes to life, causing the father to be horrified as the truth of their cruel deception is revealed. A servant runs into the room shouting that they are in trouble. His facial expression and voice convey desperation and fear that the approaching threat could destroy everything they have tried to preserve. Imperial troops invade the mansion, determined to test the veracity of the article. The girl standing with the staff looks on with equanimity, ready to meet the troops and show her true strength. Her father screams, demanding that she return, and accuses her of tarnishing the family's honor. His face and voice are full of anger and despair, for he realizes that losing control of his daughter threatens their reputation. The girl turns away, calling them ungrateful. She says bitterly that she wishes her first family had come from a noble family. She walks away, leaving them in fear and misunderstanding, realizing her strength and determination. The girl's parents saw starting a family as just one item on life's checklist. To them, it was just another obligation, nothing more. The girl felt this indifference and grew up in an atmosphere of emotional coldness. 2 children were born in the family, but the love and care of the parents did not touch them. The girl and her brother lived in absolute indifference, without attention and warmth. This imposed a deep imprint on their lives. Despite the lack of love in the family, the girl liked people. She was straightforward and honest. Her affection and sincerity immediately caught the eye. She valued friends and was always ready to help. The girl's friends could always count on her support. She reached out to everyone in need, creating a warm and trusting atmosphere around her. These were rare moments of joy in her life. However, life was cut short tragically. The girl got into an accident while trying to save her friends. Police and passers-by were shocked to see her on the ground, while her rescued friends were crying nearby. In the last moment of her life, the girl thanked fate that her friends were okay. It was her comfort in the face of death. She realized that her sacrifice was not in vain. So she said goodbye to life on the threshold of her 20th birthday, not having had time to finish the entrance exams. But it was her conscious choice. She accepted her fate with dignity, realizing that she had done her best. In her next life, she found herself in a world on the brink of extinction. It was a world where every action could lead to disaster, and once again she had to fight for survival. The only hope of saving this world was death. The girl realized that only by sacrificing herself could she prevent its destruction and save many lives. She remembered how in her first life she sacrificed herself for her friends. Each subsequent life required her to make new sacrifices, but she still hoped that one day all would be well. As she goes through her 100th life, she realizes that there are no regrets in this life. Seeing the world in chaos is devastating, for the moment when destruction could have been prevented was lost. Looking at the people and wielding great power, she felt their mute reproach. In their gazes, she saw the accusations of not being able to save them. She could feel the accusing looks on her, as if she was being rebuked for failing to save them. The oppressive shadow of guilt lingered on her heart, causing pain and frustration. No matter how much she became insensitive, seeing such scenes was unbearable to her. She realized that she couldn't let it go on. The children she saw had to go on living. She could not allow herself to forget their innocence and future. Once again in this life, she would not live to be 20. Realizing this fact was painful, but she kept fighting. Her average life expectancy was 17 years. This time she prayed that it would be over and that she would never have to suffer again. Her 99th death had come. Each time she grew closer to her goal, hoping that this would be the last time. In her 100th life, she was born a girl. It was a new chance, a new attempt to change fate, but she still felt tired of the endless cycle. She hoped it would end there. 100th life was a significant number, another new life, another adaptation, but she felt like it was all repeating itself. The girl looked at the people around her and tried to understand what they wanted. Each time everything started anew, but she kept hope for a better future. The newborn girl watches the people around her with curiosity. The maid admires her resemblance to her mistress, marveling that the child was born in an aristocratic home, and worries about what the future holds for her. The girl becomes nervous, realizing that she cannot use her powers on her first birthday. She is helpless and vulnerable as she watches the people around her greet her. The father appears, and the maid informs him that he has had a beautiful daughter. The girl is surprised to realize that this man is her father and feels insecure. Seeing her father's face for the first time, the girl feels anxious. She fears that this life too will go to ruin like the previous ones, and prepares herself for possible difficulties. She ponders what awaits her in this life: neglect, violence. This fear fills her, making her doubt the future. The girl is horrified to think that death may await her as soon as she is born. Her eyes are wide open with fear, and her thoughts are filled with panic, making her heart beat faster. She realizes with horror that when this world is on the brink of destruction again, she can do nothing but watch the chaos that will happen around her. People's lives will disappear before her eyes, and she will be powerless to change anything. This feeling of helplessness oppresses her soul, causing deep sadness. People's souls will scatter like dust, and she will only watch. This realization adds to her fear and pain, but she can't change anything. She wants to live and endure the torment on her own, despite the fear and pain that lies ahead of her. Her desire to be strong and independent grows with every passing moment. The young father happily thanks fate for the safe birth of his youngest daughter, feeling sincere love and happiness. He looks at the newborn with warmth and care. The mother lovingly calls the newborn her favorite daughter. She radiates joy and tenderness, which causes the girl to question the reasons for such happiness on their faces. The girl is surprised at how suddenly everything has changed and sees her resemblance to her mother. She begins to realize that she is surrounded by love and care that she did not know in past lives. She ponders that if everything is truly normal here, perhaps her 100th life will be a quiet and peaceful one. The girl hopes that this time will be different. Her new name is Anastasia. She thinks it is beautiful and hopes it will bring her happiness. She feels that this name is a symbol of new life and new hopes. Even so, she recalls how her life was like a drain. She is tired of suffering and decides to sacrifice herself again to become a savior. Her expectations that things will be different this time seem foolish. She realizes that more hardships await her, but decides to face them with pride and determination. Her sister comes to see the newborn baby girl. She sees the surprise and joy in her eyes and calls her sis, thus welcoming her into the family. Surprisingly, nothing much happens. The girl sleeps peacefully in her crib, and everything around her seems calm and safe. This brings her some relief. She's ready for the heroic name and all the trials it brings. The girl is determined to live this life worthily, despite all the previous disappointments and suffering. The little girl Anastasia realizes that it is too early to relax. Her wariness intensifies, knowing that there may be new trials and dangers ahead. In her past life, she was told that a child with a heroic name was blessed by God, but even that promise didn't bring her peace and happiness. The boy who seemed kind turned out to be only a pretender. Eventually, his true intentions became apparent, and she recognized his true nature. He began to bully her, afraid of her power. His fear led to abuse, and she realized she couldn't count on him to protect her. As if testing her strength, he sought to realize how helpless she was in front of her parents. She realized her vulnerability and the need to be on guard. She was given the name of heroine, and she thinks it was only to sacrifice her. She has come to realize her role and the gravity of her destiny. Now all she has to do is keep her guard up and prepare for the trials ahead. She decides to trust no more and be ready for any danger. She did her best to understand her surroundings. Her wariness helped her adapt and survive in this new, hostile world. A woman with black hair and bright red eyes is her mother in this life. Anastasia feels mixed feelings about her. When her mother rocks her, she immediately falls into a dream. But even in that moment, she knows she needs to be careful, for danger can lurk at any moment. The pink-haired man, huge and strong, towers over those around him like a wolf among the sheep. Outwardly formidable, but in his eyes you can see tenderness. This is Anastasia's father. He personifies protection and strength, inspiring respect from others. Anastasia rarely sees her father. He speaks to her gently, asking her if she has forgotten him. She looks at him with wonder and love. Their rare meetings are full of emotion. His voice sounds strange and unfamiliar to her. Anastasia wonders if he is putting psychological pressure on her. This moment emphasizes the complexity of their relationship and her father's attempt to get closer. There is always someone in the room. The servants make sure that Anastasia is not left alone. Her surroundings are always caring for her, creating an atmosphere of safety and warmth despite the disturbing moments. Anastasia's parents, formidable and determined, watch over her safety. They seem like a scary family to her, but their intentions are pure. They are willing to protect her from all threats, despite her fears and doubts. Anastasia realizes that she has become a duchess again. She is annoyed by this role and status, which has brought her only problems and worries. Her thoughts are full of contradictions and dissatisfaction with her fate. In her dream, she is disturbed by a noise. Anastasia wakes up and sees her father and the doctor coming through the door. Their concerned faces show concern for her health and condition. This moment is full of anxiety and concern for her well-being. The father, agitated and angry, speaks to the doctor. He is yelling, expressing his anxiety and anger about his daughter's condition. His emotions are off the charts. He cannot understand what is happening to her. The father screams, asking why his daughter is not crying or laughing if she is healthy. His despair and incomprehension heighten the drama of the situation, emphasizing his helplessness and pain. Anastasia, small and confused, does not understand why there is so much noise around her. She feels guilty and frightened, not realizing that her father is just very worried about her. This moment shows her vulnerability and loneliness. The pink-haired man accuses the doctor of incompetence. His cold stare and the threat in his voice emphasize his seriousness and determination to protect his daughter. The atmosphere heats up, creating tension and fear in the doctor. Anastasia's father decides to get rid of the doctor. His determination and anger overwhelm him, and he draws his sword, preparing for drastic measures. A shadow of fear envelops the room, showing how serious his intentions are. Anastasia, seeing what is happening, panics as she tries to understand what her father is doing. She is horrified to realize that her father is ready to kill a man because of her strange behavior. This moment is full of anxiety and worry for her future. Anastasia's memories flash back to how in her past life her parents hated her crying. She recalls that she didn't cry to survive. Her thoughts sink into fear and despair, intensifying her internal struggle. Anastasia decides not to worry in vain. Her life is more precious than any worries. She confidently makes the decision to focus on her survival despite all the difficulties. Her calmness and determination emphasize the strength of her spirit. The doctor, frightened and trembling, vows to thoroughly check Anastasia's condition. He desperately tries to convince the pink-haired man of her health. The atmosphere heats up. The tension reaches a climax. Anastasia feels guilty about what is happening. Her thoughts are filled with doubt and fear of what her father might do. Her guilt reinforces her vulnerability and helplessness in this situation. Suddenly, Anastasia screams loudly to stop her father. Her determined scream pierces the air. She demands that an innocent man not be touched. Her boldness and determination emphasize her strength of will. Her father, hearing her voice, is overjoyed. His face lights up with joy at his daughter's ringing voice. This moment is full of unexpected tenderness and warmth, contrasting with the recent tension. Anastasia is surprised by her father's joy. In the past, her yelling has always led to bad consequences. She begins to realize that her new father is different, and his joy brings her relief and hope for a better future. Anastasia's father, joyful and happy, looks at his daughter with love. His face is lit up with tenderness and joy at being with her. This moment shows how much he loves his daughter and how happiness overwhelms him. Anastasia feels on edge. She needs to be on guard. However, she cannot hold back tears, hugging her father. Her emotions overwhelm her, but she still feels warm and protected in his arms. Laura, a pink-haired girl, asks her father with hurt and surprise why he left her out. Her eyes reflect pain and disappointment, and she holds a teddy bear in her hands, showing her affection. Anastasia, while in her father's arms, is surprised to recognize Laura. Her thoughts are filled with doubt. Her eyes scrutinize Laura, trying to understand her feelings and thoughts. Anastasia reflects on the fact that she was called the youngest, assuming she had siblings. Meeting Laura causes her more anxiety than joy. Her heart clenches with excitement and uncertainty. Anastasia's special abilities trigger memories of her past. Back then, all of her parents' attention went to her brother. Her special abilities remained in the shadows and she felt invisible. Anastasia painfully recalls how she was not a favorite child in her past life. Her heart clenches with pain and loneliness. Memories of the past haunt her, bringing only bitterness and disappointment. Laura, with her cheeks puffed up, looks sweet and resentful. Anastasia realizes that you can't give in to her charms or the girl will get upset or cry. She tries not to give in to her manipulations. Laura suddenly realizes that her little sister is in front of her. Her eyes light up with joy and admiration. She is genuinely happy to have such a sweet little sister, and her heart fills with love. Her father holds Anastasia in his arms, and Laura wraps her arms around them. She rapturously cries out that she has such a beautiful sister. In this moment, the whole family unites in warm and joyful feelings, creating an atmosphere of love and happiness. Anastasia and Laura ask their father for pudding together. Laura happily tells her father that she and Asya want the treat. This moment is full of joy and childlike happiness, showing how the sisters bond through shared desires. Laura explains that Laurencia is Laura and Anastasia is Asya. They hug and laugh, but Anastasia seems puzzled by this cute behavior. The scene is full of tenderness and familial warmth, showing their closeness. Anastasia expresses her displeasure. Her facial expression clearly shows that she does not like what is happening. She moves restlessly in her father's arms while Laura looks at her with a smile and tenderness. Her father is surprised that Anastasia likes her new nickname. However, her response with a loud no clearly demonstrates otherwise. This moment elicits laughter and joy from Laura, reinforcing the family bond. Her father explains to Laura with a smile that Anastasia is too young for pudding. He understands her good intentions, but is concerned for his youngest daughter's health. His calmness and concern create an atmosphere of trust and love. Her father gently strokes Laura's head, assuring her that if she eats the pudding for two, Anastasia will be happy. Laura smiles and agrees, showing how willing they are to share in each other's joy and care. Laura expresses concern that if she eats the pudding alone, Anastasia will be upset. Her concern for her sister is touching and genuine, showing how much she cares about her little sister's feelings. Anastasia remembers being sick recently and only eating soups, so she was very sad that she couldn't eat sorbet. This memory emphasizes her desire to share her joy with Anastasia and her concern for her feelings. Anastasia is surprised that Laura is worried about her mood. Her eyes express surprise and touched concern for her sister. This moment reinforces their bond and shows how important it is for them to be there for each other. Laura offers to eat only one piece of pudding so that Anastasia will not be upset. Her sweet offer and care shows genuine love and desire to make her sister happy. Anastasia wordly asks her father to do something. Her frightened look and pleading express her anxiety and uncertainty. Her words are full of hope for his protection and help. Her father, embracing Anastasia, reassures her, telling her that he hears everything. His gentle embrace and soothing words fill her heart with warmth and reassurance. Anastasia feels safe in his arms. Laura is surprised when her father informs her that Anastasia wanted her to eat all the goodies. Her eyes widen with surprise and joy, while Anastasia is embarrassed and a little confused. Laura offers Anastasia her plush reindeer, showing her love and willingness to share. Her generosity and care touch Anastasia's heart, creating a special bond between them. Her father reminds Laura that she can't sleep without her reindeer and asks if everything will be okay. Laura confidently replies that she is willing to share with her little sister, showing her responsibility. Laura proudly declares that Anastasia is her little sister, and as the older one, she must share. Her joy and pride in her sister fills the room with light and happiness, strengthening the family bond. Anastasia cannot believe what is happening. She is still wary, not believing in the sincerity of care and love. Her thoughts are full of doubts, but she tries to remain strong and attentive. Lara anxiously asks Anastasia if she likes her deer. Her concern and excitement for her sister's feelings touches Anastasia, causing her mixed feelings of joy and disbelief. Anastasia fears that she will be hated as she was in her past life. Her heart shrinks with fear and pain, but at the same time, she hopes for a better future, seeking understanding and love. Lara asks if Anastasia likes rabbits or tigers, promising to get them for her. Her concern and desire to make her sister happy touches Anastasia, filling her heart with warmth and gratitude. Anastasia, feeling anxious, wonders why she is not hated. Her facial expression reflects worry and uncertainty. Lara tries to distract her by turning her attention to something else. Lara plays peekaboo, trying to cheer Anastasia up. She genuinely wants to see a smile on her sister's face. Lara makes funny faces to lighten the mood and make Anastasia laugh. Rumors of Anastasia smiling while playing with her sister spread quickly. Everyone, including the servants, strives to make her happy by showing their efforts and concern for her well-being. Even the head healer tries to cheer Anastasia up by showing funny grimaces. He tells how he played with his daughter and how she laughed even though she had just cried. His efforts emphasize his desire to help. Anastasia's father also tries to cheer her up by showing her funny faces and urging her to look at him. His concern and desire to see her happy is touching and shows his sincere love. Anastasia's mother, seeing all this commotion, drives everyone away to give her daughter a rest. Her determination and concern for Anastasia's peace emphasizes her motherly love and desire to create a calm atmosphere. Anastasia, feeling vulnerable, does not know how to respond to this attention. She wonders whether to give up or get angry when she is surrounded by so much care and attention. Her internal conflict grows. People in the house try to make Anastasia smile. They discuss her smile and promise to try harder. Anastasia wonders why they are trying so hard for her with mixed feelings. Anastasia wakes up and sees Damien, who asks how she is feeling. His caring gaze and kind words show his genuine concern for his sister's condition, creating an atmosphere of warmth and support. Anastasia learns that Damien is her 5-year-old older brother. She is surprised by his care and attention, realizing that she is surrounded by a family ready to support and protect her in any situation. Despite his young age, Damien is already being educated as the heir to the duchy. His serious look and confidence are impressive. He is preparing for an important role, showing responsibility and maturity. Anastasia wonders why Damien came to her if he is so busy. She thinks she should be careful with him, her mistrust and wariness obvious. Her thoughts are full of doubt and anxiety. Damien wonders what Anastasia is thinking about. She's thinking about how to survive. Her seriousness and frankness surprise Damien, and he begins to realize how deep her thoughts are. He notices her serious expression and begins to tease her, trying to cheer her up. His efforts cause Anastasia to have mixed feelings. She smiles, but remains wary. Damien says he brought her a gift, which surprises Anastasia. Her expression changes from disbelief to curiosity. She wasn't expecting such a gesture and feels a little confused. Anastasia finds it strange that everyone wants to give her something. She begins to suspect that there is something behind it. Her distrust grows as she tries to understand the motives of the people around her. Damien proudly shows off his toy tiger that he decided to give to Anastasia. His face lights up with joy. He hopes that this gift will bring her happiness and strengthen their bond. Damien explains that Laurentia advised him to make an interesting grimace to make Anastasia laugh. He recalls this with a smile and tries to follow the advice to cheer her up. He also mentions what Laurentia said about his tiger. He is sad to part with the toy he spent his entire childhood with, but he decides to give it to Anastasia, wanting to make her happy. Anastasia is surprised by such a valuable gift. She wonders why he is giving her such an important thing to him. Her heart softens and she begins to trust him, realizing the sincerity of his intentions. Anastasia watches Damien, who asks her to show her his smile. She feels touched and surprised by his concern and sincere desire to see her happy. Anastasia, holding on to the soft toy, reflects on the importance of Damien sacrificing such a precious thing for her. It causes her to feel a mixture of surprise and gratitude. She remembers the family gathered around her crib and realizes how much all the family members genuinely care for her. Their desire to see her smiling touches her to the core. Damien and Laura stand beside Anastasia, trying to cheer her up. She notices that even her brother and sister genuinely want her to smile, which fills her heart with warmth. Anastasia, hugging her toy, reflects on how protecting the world can be important. She realizes that her happiness and smile also makes a difference to those around her. Damien is thrilled to see Anastasia finally smile. His joy is contagious and it makes her even happier. Anastasia shares that over many lifetimes she has learned to be wary, but on such a wonderful day she decides to believe in a miracle and trust her loved ones. Despite many disappointments in the past, Anastasia decides to hope for the best. She believes that in this 100th life, things will be different. She looks at her family that has gathered around her crib. Anastasia realizes that these people will never turn their backs on her, and this fills her soul with confidence. The maids are in awe of how sweet Anastasia is. They compare her to a snow fairy, and their enthusiastic faces make Anastasia smile and feel warm and accepted. Her mom holds Anastasia in her arms and marvels at her beauty, calling her an angel. A glow of joy and love fills the room, creating an atmosphere of serene happiness. Surrounded by her caring parents, Anastasia suddenly hears them tell her that they will buy everything they see and pay the tailor 4 times as much. Her reaction is a mixture of surprise and bewilderment. Anastasia feels a little confused by this turn of events. She does not yet know how to react to such generous gestures from her family, and it gives her mixed feelings. Finally, Anastasia crawls across the floor and is excited to see more than just her crib. She begins to explore the world around her with interest and determination. Crawling around the house, Anastasia explores every corner. Her curiosity leads her to all sorts of places, and she enjoys every moment of her little discoveries. Anastasia is still making baby noises, but she is already able to say a few words. Her attempts to communicate are endearing to everyone around her and show her eagerness to develop. Anastasia's father responds joyfully to her attempts to speak. He asks her if she loves her daddy, and his eyes shine with happiness when he sees her response. Anastasia continues to try to speak, but so far she has not been able to pronounce the words clearly. Her efforts are met with warm smiles and support from those around her. She feels like a normal child, enjoying the simple joys of childhood. Her eyes are fixed on her toys and the world around her, which seems so big and interesting. However, she realizes that in case of danger, she will not be able to escape, as all her strength is spent on crawling. This thought worries her, but she hopes that her loved ones will always be there to protect her. Anastasia, lying on the floor, is surprised at how calm it is around her. Suddenly, she rolls over onto her back, much to the surprise of her family. The whole family watches Anastasia's first rollover with joy and delight. Their joy and support fills her with warmth and confidence. Laura and Damien are thrilled that Anastasia has been able to roll over. They are amazed at her development and can't contain their emotions. Damien shares with his mother that Anastasia is very nimble and is rolling over earlier than usual. The mother agrees, recognizing that Anastasia is indeed unusual. Determined to celebrate Anastasia's first rollover, the family throws a celebration party. This important event becomes the occasion for a family celebration. Anastasia is a bit confused by the scale of the event. Although the event is for family members only, she feels she is the center of attention. The magnificent banquet hall and the entire family gathered around the long table impress Anastasia. She didn't expect the event to be so large. Anastasia sits on the throne feeling a little insecure. The servants emphasize how admirably she handled the first coup de grace. One of the servant girls smiles happily and says that they are happy to serve Anastasia. Her words fill the little girl's heart with warmth. Anastasia ponders why there is so much fuss around the first coup. Although it is only a small step for her family and servants see it as a great achievement and rejoice with her. For Anastasia, everything around her seems unusual. Surrounded by her caring parents and servants, she feels special and loved. The whole family demonstrates an amazing affection for Anastasia. She notices that the more they care for her, the more she begins to worry about their feelings. Anastasia's mother warmly tells her to grow up big and healthy. Her words fill Anastasia's heart with joy and hope for the future. Anastasia realizes that she doesn't need to be perfect or successful. The most important thing for her is to be healthy and enjoy life surrounded by a loving family. She reflects on what this care and love she receives means. Anastasia feels the innocence and purity of these feelings that bring her comfort. After a bustling day and many events, Anastasia stays in her crib, reflecting on yesterday's events and feeling inner peace. The servants go on vacation after the party, leaving Anastasia in the care of her parents. They bid her farewell, wishing her not to grow up too fast. One of the servant girls stays behind, sitting in the corner of the room. She watches Anastasia sleeping and ponders the importance of sleep to her growth and health. Anastasia ponders her age, assuming she is not even 20. The maid realizes that children need plenty of sleep to grow healthy and strong, and these thoughts comfort her. Soon the end of the year arrives, and even Anastasia's parents have to leave on business. The house becomes empty and quiet, creating a sense of solitude. Damien is hard at work studying, concentrating on reading a book. He is eager to learn, trying to use every spare minute to study. Laurentia is ill and has to rest in her room. Her bed is surrounded by care and comfort, which helps her get better faster. Anastasia notices that this opportunity is rare. She decides to use the moment to practice getting back on her feet and build her strength up. Her goal is to climb into a big chair. This seems like an important and challenging task that she decides to overcome, despite the odds. Although she has been advised not to grow up too fast, Anastasia is eager to start walking. Her desire for independence makes her determined and persistent. One of the maids notices her attempts and asks if she is having a good time. Anastasia ponders the question. Anastasia looks at the new maid with surprise and interest. Her small red eyes express bewilderment, and she makes baby noises as she tries to figure out who this stranger is. The maid sees Anastasia for the first time and cannot hide her surprise. She is taken to her mother's house by order of her mistress. Anastasia wonders what this could mean since her mother is supposed to be away. Anastasia doubts and ponders the situation. She's not sure why the maid is not waking her up and is behaving strangely, which makes her suspicious. Anastasia recalls going through something like this before. Her feelings intensify and she senses that something is wrong, which makes her anxious and wary. Anastasia feels there is no other option when she is suddenly carried out of the room. Her terrified screams echo through the empty corridors. A servant girl covers Anastasia's mouth to muffle her screams. The girl is shocked and doesn't understand what is happening, her eyes filled with fear. The maid, with a grim smirk, assures Anastasia that she will take care of her. This scene fills the girl with terror and a sense of betrayal. It was too calm, and Anastasia realizes that her abduction was an unexpected blow. The maid carries her away, putting her to sleep with sleeping pills. Discomfort and strange sounds wake Anastasia. Her small red eyes fill with anxiety and incomprehension of what is happening. Anastasia, realizing that she has been kidnapped, wonders what has happened. She realizes that the woman who captured him is not who she thought she was. Anastasia looks around and realizes that they are not far from home yet. This gives her hope of rescue, but the situation still seems hopeless. She reproaches herself for her carelessness, realizing that her naivety and gullibility led to these events. Her thoughts are full of regret and self-criticism. Anastasia realizes that she should have been more alert to her surroundings. The image of the maid who betrayed her causes her feelings of disappointment. The thought that she could be killed again fills her with horror. She decides to pull herself together and fight for her salvation and well-being. Anastasia realizes that she is only 6 months old, and there is nothing she can do in this situation. She clutches the locket and feels her helplessness. The girl thinks about what will happen now. She needs to find out where she is being taken and why. Perhaps this will help her understand the kidnapper's plans. Anastasia decides to use the power of teleportation despite her tension. She is curious as to why she has been kidnapped and hopes to get answers. The girl speculates that it could be a crime against the Duke or someone found out about her power. She feels in danger, but decides to find out the truth. She realizes that the risk is justified. The girl plans to find out the truth and expose the kidnappers in a few days. She imagines how she will make them confess. Anastasia realizes that she will not be able to return home quickly, but she will try to solve everything as soon as possible so as not to disturb her family. The girl wants to send a message to her family in a dream so they won't worry. She hopes it will calm them down until she returns. Suddenly, the man carrying Anastasia is attacked. He is wounded by an arrow and the situation becomes critical. The man, not realizing what is happening, realizes the seriousness of what is happening. He tries to protect Anastasia despite his condition. A boy with a sword appears, ready to help. He asks the man a question, and the situation seems to stabilize a bit, but the danger is not over yet. The unknown man is holding little Anastasia in his arms. He is determined to meet her and decides to act despite the possible consequences. A young boy, the Duke's son, suddenly appears and confronts the unknown man. The man is confused, not knowing how he should proceed. The man screams in desperation, trying to protect. Anastasia sees the young man for the first time, not knowing his intentions. The young man notices the younger Duchess, who is next to the man. Other people appear in the distance, which complicates the situation for the man. The man realizes that he has been spotted and realizes that he has little time to escape. He is alarmed by the rapid approach of his adversaries. The young man demands his mistress back if the man does not want to fight. The man is forced to act quickly to protect Anastasia from the threat. The man panics and yells at the pursuer to stop the chase. He explains that he has his own reasons for such actions, but no one listens to him. The young man, determined, threatens the man if he tries to justify himself. His intentions are clear, and he is ready to go to extreme measures to save his mistress. Anastasia notices a fierce young man who seems to be the same age as her brother. She becomes frightened by his rage and determination. Anastasia realizes that the young man holds the sword with confidence and strength. She realizes that this is not just an ostentation, but a real threat to their savior. The boy uses magic, wielding it so skillfully that his sword is filled with magical energy. He prepares to attack, determined and strong, collected and confident in his actions. Anastasia prepares to use a defense spell to protect herself and the baby. Her eyes are widened with terror and her movements are quick and decisive. The boy is already holding a little girl named Anastasia in his arms. She looks worried, but the boy tries to reassure her by asking about her well-being. He cares for her despite the situation. The boy continues to reassure Anastasia. He asks if she is scared and if anything hurts. His words are full of tenderness and care, and he tries to convince the girl that everything is fine. Anastasia assures him that she is fine. Her small hands hold the boy tightly, and the expression on her face indicates that she feels safe around him. Anastasia is being cautious. She realizes that despite his fighting skills, he is still a child and must be careful and cautious in protecting those he cares about. Someone falls to the ground in front of the boy and Anastasia. The boy is surprised and perplexed as to why this person has fallen. His face expresses incomprehension, for he has done nothing. Anastasia looks exhausted. Her lungs feel as if they are being crushed, and she realizes that she needs to use her strength more carefully, especially when someone is holding her in his arms. The boy is worried that Anastasia is freezing. He tries to keep her warm, thinking about how scared and cold she is. He himself is very frightened for her, though he tries to stay confident. The boy assures Anastasia that everything will be all right. He promises that it will soon be warm and cuddles her to him, trying to give her a sense of security and comfort in this difficult moment. The little girl, Anastasia, feels protected as she cuddles up to her savior. She finds comfort in the softness and warmth of his embrace, which helps her to calm down after the stress she has experienced. In the woods, Damien calls out to Anastasia, his voice filled with concern. He sees the boy holding the girl and moves closer, ready to provide assistance. A man stands behind him, observing the situation. Damien asks Anastasia to open her eyes, saying that her brother has come. His face expresses anxiety and fatigue. He hopes everything will be okay. The boy tries his best to support and comfort the girl. The captive begs for mercy, justifying his actions. His eyes are filled with fear and despair. He realizes that his life hangs in the balance. He hopes that he will be listened to and spared. Damien offers the captive to come with them until his father returns. There is an order in his voice. He leaves no choice. The boy tries to keep the situation under control despite his youth. Anastasia's mother reflects on the situation, realizing that despite the young age of her daughter, it is necessary to act quickly. For the sake of her children, she is willing to do whatever it takes to ensure their safety. Anastasia's mother and father are concerned about the girl's condition. They call her by name, hoping for a response. Their faces express fear and uncertainty. They are willing to do anything to help their daughter. Anastasia opens her eyes and weakly says her parents' names. She looks tired, but her voice is filled with hope. The girl is waiting for comfort and care from her loved ones. Anastasia's father urgently calls the doctor, having learned that the girl is awake. His voice is full of concern. He orders to act immediately. All attention is now focused on Anastasia's health and safety. Little Anastasia lies in bed, pondering the fact that Papa should have been there. She feels frightened, but realizes the importance of His Majesty's order. Her mother tries to reassure her daughter, assuring her that everything will be fine. Anastasia has lost consciousness due to overexertion, causing her body to react unexpectedly. She realizes that her body was simply not ready for such a load. Anastasia lies in bed looking at her parents. They apologize to her. Her parents feel guilty about what happened and are trying to make up for their mistakes. Anastasia thinks about the kindness of these people. She doesn't want to hurt them, realizing how hard they are trying for her. Her small hand wraps around her mother's arm, expressing gratitude and trust. Anastasia's parents standing in front of the assembled servants who swear loyalty to their mistress. There is a solemn atmosphere in the room, everyone ready to protect and support the little mistress at all times. Anastasia, sitting on the bed, wonders who all these people are. She looks at the gathering of servants with wonder and some wariness, realizing that they are all here for her protection and well-being. Anastasia's father explains to his daughter that these people will now protect her. He asks her if she thinks they are enough. Anastasia feels care and support from her father, which gives her confidence. The reason for Anastasia's abduction turns out to be trivial. The son of a maid who worked in the mansion had unsustainable debts. People mired in debt saw how much money was being spent on the little mistress and decided to take advantage of it. The kidnappers foolishly decided to take Anastasia while on vacation, hoping to exchange her for money. Luckily, a friend of Anastasia's brother quickly found them and stopped them. The boy proved to be a staunch defender. The kidnappers were kicked out of the mansion with fractures and wounds. It is said that Anastasia's parents were lenient to them. They punished the intruders, but showed mercy despite the horror they had experienced. Anastasia reflects on the guards. She realizes that guards are a good means of protection. However, she thinks that putting 20 men to guard one little girl is overkill, but she still appreciates their concern. Anastasia's father explains to her that the knights present have sworn allegiance to her. His voice is full of pride and confidence. He wants his daughter to understand the importance of protecting them. Anastasia's father asks her to say something encouraging to the knights. He hopes that her words will inspire them and give them extra motivation to fulfill their duties. Anastasia is surprised by her father's request. She ponders what a child her age might say. Her thoughts are filled with doubt, but she still wants to live up to her father's expectations. The knights respond loudly to Anastasia's words, promising to do their best. Their faces are full of determination and enthusiasm, ready to defend their mistress at any cost. Anastasia feels supported and cared for from all sides. It has been a month since the knights were sworn in. 2 guards are constantly inside Anastasia's room, ensuring her safety. The girl is getting used to the constant presence of the protectors. 2 knights are also on duty outside the room. Anastasia notes that as she gets older, it is getting easier for her to get to inaccessible places, and she hopes it will be even easier in the future. The last kidnapping was for money, but Anastasia realizes that her family will often be embarrassed. Her thoughts are filled with anxiety for her loved ones and their future. On the day of the kidnapping, Anastasia's parents left with tense faces. Usually they did not leave the house at the same time, but that day something was wrong. The girl notices their uneasiness. The Duke's family has many enemies. Anastasia realizes that if it weren't for that, the children wouldn't have so many guards assigned to them. She has no other explanation for so many guards. Anastasia decides to try to use her powers to the best of her ability. She realizes that it may help her cope and protect herself and her loved ones in the future. If Anastasia's fever rises again, her parents start to worry. The girl does not want to see their anxious faces, realizing how much they worry about her health and well-being. She does not want to sit idle, realizing her responsibility. On her shoulders lies the responsibility to stop the fall of the world, and she feels the need to act despite her young age. Anastasia, hurrying across the room, hears a familiar voice asking where she is going. She recognizes it and stops and tries to answer, but her mind is on other things. Damien greets Anastasia cheerfully. His smile and open embrace fills her with confidence. She realizes that she will always find support and care around him, like a true brother. Anastasia sees Damien and crawls towards him on the floor. Her movements are swift and decisive. She strives for him, delighted to be near her beloved brother. The maids watching this scene marvel at how quickly Anastasia is growing up. They marvel at her vigor and strength, noting that she is becoming more and more independent and confident. Damien looks fondly at Anastasia. She notices that his facial expression is different than usual, but she still sees determination and strength in his eyes, ready to face any challenge. Damien tells Anastasia that his friend wants to see her. He reminds her of meeting this boy, hoping she will remember and agree to meet again. Anastasia remembers Damien's friend, that boy with the white hair. She realizes that that day left a deep impression on her, and she is ready to meet him again to learn more. Damien suggests that Anastasia meet his friend again. His voice is full of hope. He believes it will be beneficial for both of them and sees it as an opportunity to strengthen their friendship and cooperation. Anastasia is worried about the boy who wields magic. She doesn't know him personally, but feels a strange familiarity, as if they have met before in another time or place. It's a feeling that keeps her uneasy. If souls are often reborn, it is possible to meet familiar ones in other worlds. Each human soul has its own waves that intersect with others. Usually such encounters go unnoticed, but not this time. This boy is not just an acquaintance. Anastasia feels a strange sense of longing and incompleteness associated with him. She can't explain the feeling, but it's too strong to ignore. She realizes that this is a great chance to find out who he really is. Anastasia decides to take the opportunity to find out why this boy evokes such strong emotions and memories for her. Mikhail, the younger duke, arrives on the scene. Time has flown by quickly, and he is ready to meet the Duchess. His face expresses determination and readiness for the upcoming meeting. He is serious. Michael gets out of the carriage and heads towards the Duchess. His movements are full of confidence. He is excited about the upcoming meeting and hopes that it will be successful and without complications. Mikhail finally meets the Duchess. He greets her with a smile, his eyes glowing with joy. Anastasia is surprised by his directness and friendliness. She begins to feel more comfortable. Mikhail is amazed at how small Anastasia is. He says this with admiration, marveling at her tiny size. This brings a smile to her face, and she feels she can trust him. Mikhail reminds Anastasia that in 2,000 years, has only met a few people like him. She tries to remember something important, but she can't yet. Her thoughts are busy trying to solve this mystery. Damien asks Mikhail why he didn't say hello to Anastasia. Mikhail realizes that he forgot to do so and smiles, trying to make up for his omission. Anastasia watches this, feeling care and attention surrounding her. Damien and Mikhail argue, calling Anastasia a doll, even though she is only a child. The girl herself, sitting between them, does not understand what they are talking about. They continue their discussion, oblivious to her presence. Damien lovingly refers to Anastasia as the youngest duchess. He tries to make sure that Mikhail respects her title. However, excitement and joy overwhelm Damien, which causes Mikhail to be surprised. Mikhail laughs as he sees Damien's concern for his sister. It looks funny because he's acting like a child. Anastasia, watching their interaction, begins to smile as well. Damien seemed always calm and serious, but now he is happy when he acts childish. This is nice to see because it shows his true nature and deep affection for his sister. Mikhail realizes that he should introduce himself. He is confident in himself and his role, but he wants Anastasia to see him not only as a friend, but as a trusted ally. He cares about her approval. Mikhail introduces himself to the younger duchess with a smile. He is pleased to meet her and wants their relationship to grow stronger. His greeting is sincere and friendly, which inspires confidence in Anastasia. Michael Aventis, who comes from the Archduke's family, leans toward Anastasia with tenderness. His attention and care for the girl is evident in every movement, showing deep affection and respect. Anastasia, a little embarrassed, watches him curiously, feeling the warmth of his sincere feelings. Michael Leventis is the sole heir of the Archduke. He is proud of his lineage and feels it is his duty to protect and support those he cares for, especially his new girlfriend, Anastasia. After their first meeting, Michael has spent more than half a month in Anastasia's home. He became accustomed to the place and the people, feeling part of their family. This time was an important milestone in his life. The current Archduke is busy with political affairs, so Michael decided to study with his childhood friend. He believes that this will help him prepare for his future responsibilities and strengthen his knowledge. Recently, all of the maids' attention has been focused on Michael. He has become the subject of conversation even more than their family. One of the servants notices that Michael has come in again, much to their surprise. The servant exclaims in surprise upon seeing Michael come to visit again. Little Anastasia stands nearby, watching what is happening. The room is filled with light and exquisite furniture, creating an atmosphere of luxury and expectation. Mikhail becomes a frequent guest, causing surprise among the servants. Mikhail, arriving earlier than usual, asks Anastasia how she is doing. Her silent reaction and attentive gaze indicate that she too is interested in this guest. Mikhail arrives at the house earlier than usual, surprising the servants. Approaching Anastasia, he cheerfully asks how she is doing. His brisk stride contrasts with the surprised looks of the servant and the little girl watching his approach. Mikhail embarrassedly apologizes to Anastasia for his appearance. He explains that he could not come to the Duchess in an unsightly state, so he decided to wash before his visit. His sincere smile and attempt to justify himself causes Anastasia to smile lightly. Anastasia, however, remains skeptical, noting that his words seem unconvincing for a boy his age. She does not allow him to win her favor easily. Mikhail, trying to cheer her up, offers her a beautiful stone, hoping it will make her smile. But Anastasia still doubts his intentions. The maids admire the rare smile of the younger Duchess and encourage Mikhail to get closer to her so that he can see that smile. From then on, Michael began looking for something that would please Anastasia. He brought many gifts, trying to guess her preferences and win her attention. However, Laurentia and Damien laugh at his efforts, pointing out that Anastasia only smiles at them. This makes his task even harder, but doesn't stop him. Mikhail gives in to the innocent provocation of Anastasia and her brother. He begins to bring jewelry on a regular basis in hopes of winning the girl's sympathy. Each time the gifts become more and more exquisite, but the desired result is not yet achieved. Anastasia, having received another gift in the form of a beautiful stone, wonders who gives such things to children. Her curiosity is mixed with slight distrust, but she still cannot hide her interest in Mikhail's actions. Mikhail is surprised when he hears Anastasia sigh as well. She notices that she has begun to grow slower and cannot use magic. These thoughts begin to worry her, creating a tense atmosphere. Anastasia is worried about her inability to walk. It depresses her greatly. However, she feels supported by Michael and the servants, who do not rush her, trying to give her time to recover. She tries to stand up, but her efforts are in vain. The sudden realization of her weakness makes her think that she needs more time and patience to get back to normal. Mikhail and one of the maids are alarmed to see Anastasia lose her balance. They rush to her to prevent her from falling, their hearts sinking with concern for her condition. At the last moment, Mikhail manages to pick Anastasia up, saving her from falling. Their gazes meet, and Mikhail realizes how important this girl is to him. She realizes that she can rely on his support. The servant is concerned about Anastasia's condition and asks if she is all right. The girl, slightly staggered, admits that she has lost her balance and feels slightly confused by what has happened. Anastasia feels a sudden heaviness in her head, which causes her confusion. Her condition worsens and she begins to realize that she may lose this fight to recover. Mikhail apologizes to Anastasia for failing to anticipate her fall. He wanted to return the gift, but he didn't expect it to lead to this result. Her surprised look and his guilt create a tense moment. The moment Anastasia tried to get up, her head suddenly felt heavy. She discovered that a ruby had been placed in her hood, causing her to have mixed feelings of surprise and displeasure. Anastasia is angry at Michael for trying to give her such a large and heavy ruby. She feels cheated and screams at him in rage, expressing her hatred for his act. Mikhail is shocked by Anastasia's reaction and cannot understand why she hates him. His genuine surprise and confusion are reflected in his eyes as he tries to make sense of her feelings. Realizing that he made a mistake with the choice of gift, Mikhail apologizes to Anastasia. He wanted to do her a favor, but did not take into account that such a large ruby can frighten her and cause negative emotions. The maids are amazed at how Mikhail was able to understand what Anastasia feels and wants to say. They admire his insight and ability to empathize, which makes them wonder and respect him. However, this irritates Anastasia even more. Her family cannot understand her feelings, and Mikhail manages to do so with such ease. This causes her internal conflict and misunderstanding. Anastasia's sister and brother are distressed by her condition. Her mother admits that she lacks the parenting skills to deal with her daughter's emotions. The brother and sister also feel helpless in the situation. Even though Mikhail showed nobility by rescuing her, Anastasia does not want to upset her family anymore. She feels guilty for causing them so much distress. Mikhail offers to teach Anastasia how to walk, but she refuses. She is annoyed that he thinks she is too small. However, his concern and insistence cause her to be internally conflicted. Mikhail assures Anastasia that he can help her learn to walk, as he has recently mastered it himself. Her surprise and distrust make him try even harder to show his sincerity and support. Anastasia, in despair, realizes that she has not even learned to stand yet, even though she is already 7 months old. This thought depresses her and makes her feel helpless. Mikhail tries to cheer her up by telling her that he did very well as a child and suggests that she learn to stand and walk. His optimism and confidence inspire Anastasia. Anastasia is growing up in normal circumstances for the first time and doesn't know how to be a child. She doesn't want to get help from Mikhail again, but deep down she realizes that her persistence can bring success. Mikhail, smiling, assures Anastasia that he will definitely teach her to walk. His sincerity and friendliness give her mixed feelings, but she is ready to accept his help. Anastasia sees Mikhail's smile and wonders why he is so happy. Her anxiety about all of this happening now is mixed with curiosity about his behavior. She begins to notice that Mikhail reminds her of her brother. These memories give her warm feelings, and she wonders why his help is so important to her. Anastasia accepts Mikhail's help not because he reminds her of her brother, but because she wants to grow up faster. She decides to trust him to accomplish her goal. This is the first time Anastasia sees this look on Mikhail's face. Her heart fills with joy. She realizes that he will help her, and it will bear fruit, and he is ready to continue helping. Anastasia, determined, asks Michael to start teaching her. Her perseverance and willingness to change inspires him to work even harder for their common cause. Mikhail, with a smile, says he will help her stand up and learn to move around. His optimism and confidence in her abilities keep Anastasia going, and she is ready to take her first steps. Mikhail helps Anastasia stand up, and she gets on her feet for the first time. When she sees her accomplishments, she can't believe it is really happening. She is overwhelmed with joy and amazement. Anastasia marvels at how easily Mikhail has made her stand. She feels his support and begins to believe in her own strength, even though she had been full of doubts until that moment. Mikhail smiles, confirming that he was always going to help her. His confidence and kindness touch Anastasia, and she genuinely wonders how he did it. He continues to motivate her, assuring her that if she could stand up, she could walk too. Anastasia, even though she is afraid of the new challenge, decides to give it a try. She takes her first steps holding on to Mikhail's hands. Her heart overflows with excitement and happiness, for she has really begun to walk, and it seems incredible to her. The servants watch her first steps with admiration and joy. They cannot believe their eyes that the lady has really begun to walk, and this event becomes a real miracle for them. Damien, Anastasia's brother, suddenly appears in the room and is surprised to notice that his sister is taking her first steps. He is amazed that the lessons have already yielded such results. Damien looks at Michael holding Anastasia's hands in surprise. He didn't expect to see his sister standing and asks if the class is over. Mikhail and Anastasia seem to be busy with important business, and his appearance takes them a little by surprise. Mikhail proudly demonstrates how Anastasia is holding on to him and walking confidently. Damien is in shock, unable to believe his eyes that his sister has made such progress. Anastasia asks Michael to let her go, but he stubbornly refuses, afraid she will fall again. Damien watches their interaction with confusion, trying to figure out what is going on. Damien saw Anastasia fall and became concerned about her condition. The maids assured him that she wasn't badly hurt or even crying, but the fact that she had fallen was obvious and caused Damien concern. Mikhail, feeling guilty, admitted that he had caused it. He tried to give Anastasia a gift, but the situation got out of control, causing her to fall. Damien looks at Mikhail with disbelief and anger, not understanding how his sister could have fallen because of him. He is deeply concerned for Anastasia and demands an explanation. Mikhail tries to explain that he did not mean for it to happen and assures him that he kept Anastasia's head from being hit. However, Damien remains wary and continues to blame Mikhail. The situation escalates when Damien decides to forbid Michael from seeing Anastasia. His words are full of determination and concern for his sister, which creates a tense atmosphere. Mikhail tries to justify himself, but Damien does not want to listen to him. He blames Mikhail for putting Anastasia in danger and insists that Mikhail leave. Anastasia observes a serious argument between the boys. She sees that their argument has escalated into a serious conflict, which causes her mixed feelings and concern. Mikhail admits that it is good that Damien has a sister that he is so worried about. His words are filled with bitterness, but also recognizing the importance of family ties. Damien, holding Anastasia in his arms, she thinks it would have been better if they were both normal children. Her thoughts are filled with regret. Unlike their peers, Mikhail and Damien look like immature adults. Their care and responsibility for Anastasia makes them more mature, but also more vulnerable to the challenges of growing up. In a difficult situation, the adult child didn't know what to do. He realized that if nothing was done, the situation would only get worse, but he couldn't change anything, no matter how hard he tried. After class, Damien liked to read books with his younger sisters. They would gather together, and his voice would soothe them. Those were his favorite moments in life. While reading books, Damien would lull his sisters to sleep so much that they would fall asleep. It was only the rumbling of Laurencia's stomach that woke them up for a snack. It was their special time together. But after Michael had saved his sister, Damien had lost that opportunity to spend time with his youngest. It was a blow to him, for those moments were the most precious to him. Michael, the only member of the family, was often seen alone because his grandfather was always busy. He had difficulty finding common ground with others. When he first saw an infant, he was very surprised. It was difficult for him to understand how to deal with such a small creature. He didn't know how to interact with it. Michael had spent all his time with swords before, so he had no ill intentions. He just didn't know how to behave with children. He had to learn everything from scratch. One day, tired of everything, Anastasia said her first word. She called Mikhail's name, which amazed everyone present. It became an important moment for the whole family. The fact that Anastasia called Michael's name first and not someone else in the family upset the others. They had been asking her to say their names all day, trying to get attention. The fact that Anastasia called Michael's name first and not someone in the family upset everyone. They felt neglected and neglected. So all day long, every member of the family, including Laurencia, Damien, and her parents, asked Anastasia to say their names, trying to win back her favor and prove their importance. Anastasia took her first steps next to Michael. This upset Damien greatly, as he wanted to be the first to see her progress. Mikhail was surprised and confused. The realization that her first step was with Mikhail added to the guilt. Anastasia felt obligated to make things right somehow, even though she didn't know how. She tried to say something, but the tears poured down in streams. The adults around her tried to comfort her, but she felt guilty and could not calm down. Michael, seeing her fear and confusion, tried to explain that she was scared and didn't like it. It was important to him that she realized that he didn't want to hurt her. Damien apologized to Anastasia, admitting his guilt. He explained to her that he had made a mistake too and apologized. She listened to him, still sobbing slightly. Michael, seeing their reconciliation, apologized to Damien for putting his sister in danger. He admitted that he shouldn't have said that, trying to explain his feelings. Michael then asked Damien to teach him how to communicate with children. He admitted that he didn't know how to do it and genuinely needed help. Damien, surprised by such a confession, hesitated. He realized that Mikhail really needed help and decided to help him in order to improve their relationship. Mikhail treated Damien's sister with respect, always asking permission before doing anything. He didn't want to hurt her and tried to be considerate. Mikhail asked Damien to explain what could be dangerous to his sister. He wanted to learn how to take care of her and avoid situations that could hurt her. Damien promised to help Mikhail since he considered him his friend. This assurance made Michael feel relieved and happy. For now, he was not alone in his quest to learn. Michael, pleased with the reconciliation, asks if he can continue to come to the house to study and spend time with his new friends. Damien agrees, and their friendship strengthens. Anastasia, observing the friendly gesture and understanding, feels that they are truly honorable, as if from a painting. This fills her heart with warmth and gratitude. She realizes that she hasn't cried so hard in a long time. Emotions run high and she feels exhausted. Her eyes grow heavy and she begins to fall asleep, drifting into a dream world. Her eyelids become heavy and Damien notices that she is falling asleep. He wishes her sweet dreams, realizing how tired she is from the day's worries and emotions. As she sinks into sleep, Anastasia realizes that she has fallen asleep in her brother's arms. She tries to realize where she is and what this place is. She feels herself in a dream full of strange and unusual sensations. She asks for help and realizes that she must wake up. But it is as if her consciousness does not obey, and she continues to wander around this strange place, trying to understand what is happening. Anastasia's body moves on its own. She notices something unclear. Her mind is in turmoil, and she can't understand what is wrong with her. A huge creature appears in front of her, entangled in chains. It can't be alive, yet it makes strange noises. She asks it what it is and what it is doing here. The creature says it is the only one who understands her. Anastasia tries to make sense of its words and understand what this means for her and her future, feeling fear and curiosity at the same time. Anastasia felt that the creature could understand her. She tried to stop her hands, which were moving on their own, but she could do nothing, panicking, asking it to stop. She didn't understand how something like this could understand her. Her hand reached for a creature that was shrouded in chains, as if it had been reborn many times. The hooded creature claimed to be the only one that understood her. The chains began to break, and she saw the golden shackles fall, freeing the unknown creature. Suddenly, the interference that appeared interrupted their connection. The creature's voice fell silent, and Anastasia heard a call, awakening her from this strange vision. She felt herself on the edge of reality and sleep. Anastasia awoke, sitting up abruptly on the bed and feeling drops of sweat dripping down her face. Her body trembled from the fear she had experienced. Her family, seeing her awakening, breathed a sigh of relief. Anastasia's mother, father, brother, and sister were by her side, their faces expressing concern and joy. She couldn't understand why they were all here and what had happened during this time. Her mother explained that the fever hadn't broken for a week, and the family was very worried about her condition. This time was filled with anxiety and worry about her health. Anastasia realized that she had been unconscious for a week. Her head was spinning at the thought, and she was trying to figure out exactly what had happened and why she had been asleep for so long. Laurencia, crying, offered to be sick instead of Anastasia, and Damien decided he would be sick instead of Laurencia. They were all willing to share her pain, just so she would get well. Father offered to take on the pain so that the children could stay happy and healthy. Michael, standing aside, watched this touching scene of family unity with sadness and hope. The Duke thanks Mikhail for his help, saying that everything is thanks to him. Michael modestly replies that it was the only thing he could do. Their mutual understanding grows stronger in this moment. The Duke places his hand on Mikhail's head, telling him not to be so modest. Michael is embarrassed, but feels acceptance and support from the Duke, which boosts his confidence. This week has been hell for the family, but Michael has brought a family treasure to help with the difficulties. His contribution was irreplaceable, and everyone was grateful. The family remembered the doctor saying that Anastasia was cursed. They were very frightened by his words and did not know what to do. Michael helped them cope with this fear. The treasure he brought them played a decisive role. Thanks to this treasure, Anastasia woke up. The family was grateful to Michael for his help and support. The treasure turned out to be a powerful artifact that could heal and protect. Mikhail traveled a long way to help. Anastasia felt she was once again indebted to him, just as she had been the last time. This debt reminded her of the importance of gratitude and support. Anastasia thinks back to the curse and realizes that over her life she's become immune to such insidiousness. However, something pulled her into this dream and she couldn't figure out what it was. She knew that her life would not be peaceful. Despite the hardship, she was happy here where she was surrounded by caring people. This place gave her a chance to forget her fate, even if only for a little while. Anastasia reflected on her destiny to save someone or something. Her destiny was important and required a lot of strength and wisdom that she was just beginning to comprehend. She realized that in order to use her powers properly, she needed to grow up soon. Her debt to others was great, and she was willing to work on herself to repay all debts and fulfill her destiny. Her mother hugged Anastasia gently, hoping she would be well. Her eyes were filled with love and care, wishing her daughter only the best. Anastasia felt the warmth of her mother's embrace. Anastasia realized that first of all, she had to play the role of the youngest daughter. It was important to stay in this role to protect herself and loved ones from external threats and dangers. During that month, Anastasia slept peacefully for the first time in a long time. Her nights were filled with peace and quiet, and she savored every moment of the peace she had sorely missed. Her body was growing, but any use of her power caused her temperature to rise. She continued to fight it, recognizing her limitations and trying to cope. 9 months passed, and Anastasia, grown and stronger, delighted her family. Her father was happy to call her to him, filled with pride and love for his youngest daughter. Anastasia felt confident in her abilities. She took a decisive step, heading towards her father. Every step she took was filled with determination and joy at her new skill. She carefully moved step by step, trying to be careful. Each step she took was a small accomplishment, and she was getting more and more excited with each moment. At one point, Anastasia felt herself losing her balance. Her little legs failed her and she began to fall, but quickly regained her balance thanks to her perseverance. Her father happily picked her up, not hiding his pride. Anastasia had managed to walk on her own, and it was a huge achievement for the whole family. They were all happy to see her progress. Her father exclaimed that their youngest was able to walk on her own. It was a huge event for the family, which they will remember for a long time, enjoying every moment of Anastasia's growing up and success. Gorgeous in their grace, the servants expressed their emotions with delight, marveling at the stunning sight they had just witnessed. Their admiration was genuine and contagious. They could not hide their delight and applauded even the small steps of Anastasia. But the girl herself did not understand why her actions caused so much joy among those around her. Anastasia reflected on her accomplishments, realizing that her body was growing and using magic was becoming easier. She became more confident as she gathered information and improved her skills. There was a festival planned for April, and the maid offered to make a festival dress for Anastasia. The event was attracting a lot of attention and promised to be meaningful for everyone. Mikhail learned that by April he was to visit the Duke's mansion. It promised to be an important visit, and he prepared for it with great excitement and responsibility. In the process, Anastasia learned about the importance of the Duchy of Znavalon and its historical place in this world. This knowledge strengthened her drive to succeed. Anastasia was worried about the pace of her growth, but was excited about the opportunity to gather important information. It gave her confidence in her own abilities and future accomplishments. The servants were proud that Anastasia was able to take her first steps on her own. The question about the knight's training brought even more attention to the girl's accomplishments. Anastasia pondered how the children's accomplishments related to the training of the knights. She realized that every step she took was leading her to becoming a true leader. The servants, realizing the importance of effort, continued to work diligently to keep up with Anastasia's progress. Their dedication was unwavering, striving to be the best at what they do. The servants told Anastasia's father that during Michael's last visit, Anastasia had fallen. Her father held the little girl in his arms with worry in his eyes and tried to make sense of the situation. Spring has arrived, and the Duke announces the need to test the skills of the knights. One of the aides clarifies his words to make sure everyone got it right. The Duke announced that a martial arts competition was planned for the April festival. He, holding Anastasia in his arms, looks confident. Everyone was ordered to be ready for the competition. The two young knights in green uniforms are clearly nervous for the upcoming trials, sweating with exertion. Little Anastasia complains to her father that he is using her as an excuse to test the knights. The girl looks disgruntled and hurt, which brings a slight smile to her father's face. The father, lifting Anastasia in his arms, talks about how she and Laura will be the protagonists of the festival. The girl, not realizing what is happening, looks at him curiously. Laurentia hugs Anastasia and calls her sis. Anastasia is a little embarrassed, but she likes the attention from her older sister. At the festival, Anastasia and Laura become the centerpieces. Festive garlands and flowers are hung around them, creating an atmosphere of joy and fun. Anastasia's mother discusses with the maid what hairstyle and accessories to choose for her youngest daughter. They decide that a headband with a ribbon would go perfectly with the dress. The maid asks Anastasia's mother about her first baby dress. The mother recalls that it was white with yellow embellishments, which brings back fond memories of her childhood. The servant suggests that a yellow dress would be perfect for little Anastasia, emphasizing her gentleness and spring mood. They clap their hands happily, imagining how good she will look. They marvel at how Anastasia and her mother look alike, emphasizing their beauty and grace from birth. This comparison brings warm memories and a smile to her mother's face. Anastasia's mother wistfully notes that they have the same hair color and ruby eyes. She is proud that her daughter has inherited her features and beauty. The mother recalls how happy her husband was when he saw that Anastasia looked like her. He had always dreamed of having a daughter with the same qualities, and this became a great happiness for him. They decided that Anastasia would wear a yellow dress in competitions. Such a bright color will look very cute on her age, emphasizing her innocence and charm. The servants remark that Anastasia in the yellow dress will look like a cute chicken. Her mother smiles, agreeing that she will look like a forsythia flower, cheerful and cheerful. The head maid assures her that it is possible to combine both ideas into one dress that will look simply gorgeous. Everyone approves this proposal with enthusiasm and joy. Anastasia's mother notes that her daughter has few dresses and asks the maid to make some new outfits from the provided fabrics. She believes that this will give Anastasia even more glamour. After her father's announcement of the competition, preparations for the festival become busier. The knights are practicing, making 3,000 sword strokes each day, much to the admiration of those around them. Many maids dye embroideries, dreaming of a declaration of love from their favorite knights. They work eagerly, hoping that their efforts will be noticed and appreciated. Preparations for the day of the martial arts competition are in full swing. People are rushing to the castle, anticipating the start of the great event. The atmosphere is filled with anticipation and excitement. Little Anastasia is being fed breakfast. She's invited to open her mouth to eat some porridge. The girl looks curiously at the spoon, ready to taste the breakfast. The elder rebukes the maid for her carelessness, reminding her how important it is to keep her dress clean. The maid apologizes, realizing the gravity of the situation. Anastasia has a special dress made for this day. She looks charming in a bright yellow outfit that emphasizes her cuteness. The color of the dress emphasizes her tenderness and freshness. Anastasia's mother, delighted by the success of the dress, doubles the cost of making it. The servants thank her, admiring her generosity and care for the little mistress. Anastasia's mother warns her that if the dress goes bad, they will be severely reprimanded. Anastasia, sitting on a chair, realizes how important this day is and tries to be neat. Anastasia tries to comfort the maid who is worried about the safety of the dress. With her kindness, she reassures them, eliciting smiles and gratitude. The servants are jealous of those who will accompany Anastasia to the festival. The girl is sad not knowing who will be her partner and feels alone in this matter. Anastasia reflects on the fact that she always has to choose between two options. Plans for the upcoming competition and festival are being made in her head. Finally, Mikhail, her friend, approaches Anastasia. He greets her, noting that they haven't seen each other for a long time. His appearance brings her joy and confidence in the future. Mikhail informs Anastasia that he will be her partner in today's event. He tries to cheer her up, despite the girl's slight confusion and embarrassment. Mikhail recalls that Anastasia did not like being in his arms before. However, now he has practiced a lot to be worthy of her trust and become a reliable partner. Mikhail gets down on one knee and asks for permission to accompany Anastasia at tonight's celebration. His gestures bring a smile and trust to the little girl. Anastasia's mother announces to all the participants that the winner of the tournament will receive not only a cash prize, but also a gift of honor. This announcement adds motivation and excitement among those present. Anastasia holds a bouquet of flowers while Mikhail hugs her tightly. He assures everyone that he has been practicing, but his skills with children still leave much to be desired. The young knights compete for the chance to get flowers from Laurentia. Each of them is determined to win to earn her attention and recognition. Anastasia's mother asks the children to offer words of encouragement to their knights. Anastasia, Laurentia, and Damien are ready to inspire their favorites to win. Laurentia enthusiastically supports the knights, asking them to try their best. She is confident that they will win and justify her trust, inspiring them to do better. Mikhail assures Anastasia that he will translate her words of encouragement. However, that's not the problem, but her excitement is being transferred to him as well. Anastasia, despite her excitement, speaks her words of encouragement. Everyone around her hears her words and promises to give their best to achieve victory. Mikhail turns to Anastasia with a smile, asking her to say a few words to him. The girl is surprised by his request, as he was not usually so confident. Mikhail informs her that he will also participate in the competition. Anastasia is shocked by this statement because he is very young and has no experience in such competitions. The knights notice that Mikhail is going to compete with them. Anastasia realizes that despite his abilities, the difference in strength and endurance is great. She worries for his safety. Mikhail asks Anastasia to wish him luck, assuring him that her support will help him win. Anastasia, not realizing what he has in mind, agrees to support him. Mikhail is concerned about not getting injured during the competition. He wants Anastasia to be calm for him and believe in his victory. Mikhail decides to work even harder to show Anastasia his best sides. His determination inspires the girl, and she begins to believe in his strength. Mikhail promises to return safe and sound. In return, he asks Anastasia to admit that he is really cool if he manages to win. Anastasia pretends not to understand what Mikhail wants, but really she's pleased with his persistence and supports him as best she can. Anastasia thinks Mikhail remembers her saying that his brother is cool. Finally, everything is ready for the first competition to begin. Anastasia is excited to see her father, the tournament organizer, show up and start the event. Anastasia is surprised to hear her father's voice from the arena. She doesn't understand why he is there, as he is supposed to be the organizer of the event, not a participant. Anastasia's father, dressed in a ceremonial suit, cheerfully greets everyone and announces that he will receive flowers from his family. His confidence is admired by all. Anastasia, seeing her father in the arena, is startled and does not understand why he is competing. She worries for his safety and possible outcome. The father waves happily as he turns to his children and asks them to watch him. His energy and enthusiasm calms Anastasia and her brother down a bit. Anastasia's mother explains to the children that their father is a bit eccentric. Damien holds Anastasia in his arms to keep her away from the edge of the bleachers and jokes about his father. Laurentia enthusiastically cheers her father on, shouting that he's awesome. She truly believes in his strength and is excited to see his confidence in the arena. The father responds to his daughter's support by promising to show off all his skills. His joy and love for his family is evident to all who are watching. Anastasia reflects that despite her father's frivolity, the competition promises to be exciting. She observes the reaction of the knights and their respect for her father. Anastasia reflects that despite her father's frivolity, the competition promises to be exciting. She watches the reaction of the knights and their respect for her father. Her father gives final instructions to the knights, teaching them to keep their balance and focus. His experience and skills make him an authority, and the knights listen to him with respect. Anastasia reflects on the competition and notices that despite the difference in skills, none of the competitors can match her father. He looks invincible. The battle is over and the sword flies in the air, showing that her father has emerged victorious. His skill and strength leave no doubt of his superiority. Anastasia's father, glowing with joy, asks the children if he was tough. His enthusiasm and energy brings a smile to the faces of everyone present. In the next bout, Michael faces a 10-year-old knight. He quickly approaches his opponent using his speed and delivers a powerful punch. Mikhail uses the momentum to knock the sword away from his opponent and wins the first round. His strategy and agility help him win the fight. Damien notices that Mikhail skillfully uses his height advantage and employs an amazing fighting strategy. He admires his younger brother's skills. In the second round, Mikhail has to fight Anastasia's father. The man asks to show his skills, and Mikhail prepares for a serious test. Anastasia's father remains calm and confident. His confidence and experience make him an unwavering opponent in the arena. Laurentia and Damien admire their father's skill. They encourage him to try harder and show their support, which inspires him even more. Anastasia watches the fight, realizing that her opponent cannot defeat her father. He doesn't lose momentum, attacking with full force, but her father remains unbeatable. Michael, at his young age, already possesses outstanding sword skills. He fights with amazing strength and determination, which allows him to reach new heights in skill. His will to win is unwavering and his skills impress everyone around him. 10 years have passed and Mikhail has reached a level comparable to Anastasia's father. His perseverance and talent have allowed him to become the best among the knights. Everyone recognizes his outstanding achievements and admires his skill and dedication. Anastasia admits that she will not see Michael's accomplishments, as she is not destined to live beyond 20 years. She regrets this, for that is why she stopped taking students despite her vast experience and knowledge. In worlds where people sought power, Anastasia taught her students to disregard age and status. She always sought to develop true power and fortitude in them, making no distinction between them. However, she never saw her students reach a new level because she was already dead. Her guidance and lessons were a thing of the past, and she could no longer keep track of their progress and achievements. Her students either betrayed her or knew no mercy. This attitude left a deep mark on her soul, and she remembered them with bitterness and disappointment that they did not live up to her expectations. Of the 10 disciples, 8 turned out to be traitors. One died too soon, another achieved success too late. Anastasia regrets each of them, remembering their fates and reflecting on her mistakes in teaching. Anastasia has had her ups and downs. She realizes that habits left behind can be a terrible thing, affecting her life and the decisions she makes in the future. As she watches Michael and her father battle, she constantly evaluates their qualities. Michael's control of the situation and his understanding of combat impress her, but she also notices his weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Anastasia reflects on her desire to leave behind something meaningful. Perhaps she is still striving for that despite all the trials and hardships she has endured, believing that her knowledge and experience can benefit future generations. Damien wonders if she likes Mikhail. Her brother enthusiastically states that if he participated, he would be just as cool too. Anastasia is surprised by his self-confidence and doesn't know what to say to such a statement. Damien, not understanding his sister's true feelings, thinks he is cool. Anastasia, on the other hand, thinks Michael is a small and nasty boy and hopes that he will grow up sooner. Her brother keeps asking if he is cooler than Mikhail, which irritates her. Anastasia often wonders why Damien keeps asking her this question. She is confused by his insistence and constant desire to compete with Michael, which prevents her from thinking calmly about her feelings and future. Damien is glad he was able to ask such an important question for him. He worries about how he is perceived by those around him, especially his sister. However, Anastasia realizes that these questions could upset Michael if he hears them. Again, Anastasia is immersed in her own thoughts and feelings. Living surrounded by a loving family, she often thought she had enough. Memories of her childhood fill her heart with warmth, but now she must decide what to do next. In a dream, Anastasia meets a strange child. The feelings she has long held inside her begin to come out. She is overcome with a strong desire to understand this child and spend more time with him despite her fears. Looking at the suspicious child, Anastasia decides to find out more about him. Her persistence and determination to find out the truth spurs her into action. She wants to understand who this child is and why he has come into her life. Mikhail admits defeat in front of Anastasia's father, amazed by his prowess. He realizes that he has not yet reached the level to which he aspires. This defeat motivates him to work even harder to become stronger. Despite the loss, Mikhail was able to land 2 punches on Anastasia's father and make it through to the second round. This is significant progress, and he thanks his father for the lessons learned and the opportunity to grow in skill. As expected, the winner of the competition is Anastasia's father. His strength and skill are consistent, and he deservedly gets the recognition he deserves. Everyone looks up to him with admiration, aspiring to reach the same heights one day. Anastasia, Damien, and Laurentia hold flowers and call out to their father, expressing their joy and admiration. They greet their father together after his victory, proud of him and his accomplishments. The family looks happy and friendly. Laurentia declares that her dad is the coolest and best. The father, flattered by his daughter's words, hugs her fondly. Damien and Anastasia also admire their father, who has just won an important victory. Mikhail observes this with envy. The father, happy and proud, shares his joy about his children, calling them sweet and wonderful. He feels successful and loved, seeing their delight. The children agree with him, supporting his confidence and admiration for himself. Mikhail, jealous of the attention Anastasia receives, wonders how long she will pretend she doesn't understand anything. His jealousy and desire to be in her shoes make him feel uncomfortable and ponder his position. The father promises that he will always receive admiration from his children. The mother reminds him of the importance of reputation. The father, satisfied with his victory and the love of his family, feels on top of the world despite the slight blows from the mother. In the tavern, the men discuss the Duke, who treats everyone to free meat and booze. They point out that the Duke is especially cheerful this year because his youngest daughter also participated in the events. The joyous atmosphere of the celebration is felt in every corner. The villagers discuss that after the festival, the hard work of the harvest season will begin. They decide to enjoy the last quiet day before the labor period, filling it with fun and relaxation. Everyone prepares for the start of the busy period with smiles on their faces. The people in the tavern are discussing who the younger Duchess looks more like, her father or her mother. Their conversations are full of curiosity and friendly argument, each making their own assumptions. This conversation brings them together and fills the day with fun. The men continue to discuss who the younger Duchess looks like, instead of just enjoying the food. Their conversations are full of guesses and assumptions. No one can give a definite answer. They laugh and argue, enjoying the moment. Suddenly, one of the customers runs into the tavern, announcing that the ducal family is passing through. Everyone who is interested runs out to see them. This moment creates excitement and interest in everyone, giving the day a special meaning and joy. The tavern patrons eagerly run out to see the passing ducal family. The director tries to stop the staff, but curiosity wins out. Everyone wants to see the powerful Duke and his family, for such moments are rare and meaningful. Anastasia's mother proudly holds her daughter in her arms as she watches the parade. She senses that this time is truly different. The Duke family participating in the festival attracted the attention of all the residents, adding to the significance of the event. After the martial arts competition, the father of the family, satisfied with his victory, treats the peasants to drinks and meat. He decides to ride through the parade in an open carriage, making the celebration even more joyful and memorable for everyone. Anastasia's father happily declares that he couldn't miss the festival, where the main characters are his daughters. The family looks happy and contented, surrounded by delight and attention. Their unity and joy is noticeable to all present. The father, satisfied with his victory, does not hide his joy. Laurentia has become the protagonist of the feast, and the father is proud of it. The family feels a little embarrassed, but their happiness and joy prevail over all emotions. The villagers admire the Duke and his family, promising to work hard this year. They are sure that there is no more caring lord than the Duke. Anastasia is in the carriage, rejoicing at everyone's attention and recognition. Anastasia is amazed at what is happening. She marvels at how the Duke cares for his subjects by distributing food and hosting a feast. She marvels as she watches the common people smile and enjoy the moment. Aristocrats rarely socialize as freely with the common people as the Duke does. His friendliness and openness amazes all who observe this moment. The Duke, his family, and his subjects enjoy this rare and joyous occasion. The festival is organized to reduce the fatigue of the common people. People enjoy this day forgetting their worries and labors. Smiles on people's faces are the best reward for the organizers of the festival. On the pretext of the festival, food is distributed and everyone rejoices at this generous gesture. The smiles and joy on the faces of everyone present make the day special. How long has it been since they have seen such a caring and generous leader like the Duke? Anastasia doesn't remember seeing anything like this in her past life when she herself was leading others. She thinks back on her past accomplishments and realizes how much her life has changed now. New experiences fill her soul. One of the knights presents a bouquet to Anastasia's mother, saying that a little girl wanted to give it to her. Anastasia wonders why the knight does not rest after the competition. After all, he was told to rest. She watches this with interest. Anastasia's mother accepts the bouquet with gratitude. The knight explains that it is their duty. Anastasia marvels at the beautiful flowers and how the knights show their devotion and respect. This moment fills her with warmth. The mother offers the knight a rest, but he refuses, believing that long rest is bad for the body. Anastasia ponders that he is right, remembering that even in a past life she rarely allowed herself to rest, finding it ineffective. In her past life as a knight, Anastasia does not remember ever resting. She believes that being a loyal protector is not enough. It is important to constantly evolve and improve without forgetting one's responsibility to others. Anastasia recalls showing off her abilities to attract the attention of aristocrats or kings. She realizes that among them were those who sincerely appreciated her, who cried, begging her not to die. This evokes contradictory feelings in her. Anastasia recalls the people who cried, begging her not to die. She realizes that these feelings are selfish, but she cherishes them anyway. These memories cause her to have mixed feelings, as she has a hard time accepting that her life was so important to others. Anastasia recalls conversations where she was told that without her, there would be no one to protect them. She was asked how they would survive without her protection, expressing fear and worry. Anastasia assured them that everything would be fine even if she was gone, trying to keep their spirits up. Anastasia remembers a young and wayward princess who was also very kind. The princess became an important part of her life, and Anastasia often wonders if she was able to grow up safely and be happy. Before she died, Anastasia cast many protective spells on the princess. She is troubled by the question of whether the princess was able to grow up safely. These thoughts do not give her peace, but she hopes for the best, remembering all her efforts. Anastasia, holding the bouquet, reflects on how strangely seldom she has remembered the past until now. Her memories are filled with conflicting feelings and thoughts about what she has experienced. On the brink of death, Anastasia's worried faces of people stood before her eyes. She wondered why such moments bring up the most vivid memories, and why her past was coming to life again before her eyes. Anastasia decides that it is better not to have memories to worry about. She prefers to live in the present, surrounded by her family, enjoying every day and not thinking about the past that only brings pain. Her thoughts are interrupted, and she wishes to learn how to use her power to summon a helper as soon as possible. Anastasia is determined to become stronger and protect those she cares about using all her abilities. Mikhail, satisfied with his victory in the first round, approaches Anastasia. He excitedly tells her about his success, wanting her approval and recognition. Anastasia, still immersed in her own thoughts, barely notices him. Mikhail asks Anastasia what he needs to do to get her to call him cool like his brothers. He trains himself to hold her properly, hoping it will help him gain her respect and acceptance. Mikhail holds out a bottle to Anastasia, telling her that she is still small and he needs to help her. He shows care and attention, wanting to show his maturity and ability to care for others. He persistently wants to hear Anastasia say that he's cool and asks if she'll say it if he wins the Duke. Anastasia, slightly annoyed by his insistence, only stares at him in silence, not knowing what to say in response. Fireworks light up the sky, and Anastasia notices that Mikhail would be cool if he didn't say it out loud. She thinks to herself that he has a tongue without bones, and his words often spoil the impression of his actions. The festival is safely wrapped up and time marches on. It is the end of May. Anastasia reflects on past events and what the future holds. Her life continues, filled with new impressions and worries. At night in the mansion, the butler reminds the mistress that it is late and she should rest. The mistress, with a smile, assures her that she will finish her diary entries and go to bed. Her careful attention to detail shows how much she values every moment of her life. The woman notes that they are very busy this month, but she can't miss the opportunity to write down all the important events. It is important for her to keep the memories of how fast the children are growing up. Her eyes glow with joy and love as she holds the quill in her hands. The butler offers to bring soothing tea so that the mistress can fall asleep faster. He is concerned for her health and wants her to rest. Seeing how immersed she is in her notes, he realizes how important it is for her to record every event. May 5th. Laurencia was happy to receive a pink cake for her birthday, exactly the same color as her hair. She looked very cute, and the event was a highlight in the family's life. Everyone around them rejoiced and enjoyed the festivities. May 14th. Anastasia's first tooth came out. This small but important moment attracted the attention of all the servants, who hopefully brought her toys. There seemed to be some worry on her face, but it was still a joyous event for the whole family. May 31st. Today, Anastasia finally climbed into her chair. This moment was a real celebration, which unfortunately the mother could not see in person. In honor of this achievement, a festive dinner was arranged, filled with joy and fun. Anastasia's mother sits with a cup of tea, thinking about how fast her daughter is growing up. Anastasia is now 11 months old, and her mother can't believe how quickly time has flown by. She enjoys the moment, remembering all the accomplishments of her little princess. Anastasia, lying in her crib, thinks that it would have been great if she had grown slower. These thoughts show that even at such a young age, she realizes how important the moments she experiences are and wants to enjoy them for as long as possible. Even though Anastasia has already rolled over the first time, she didn't expect to have a party to celebrate her chair climbing again. She marvels at how much her family appreciates her every move and rejoices in her every accomplishment. The maid, tired from preparing for the banquet, admits that these festivities have made it easier for her. Her fatigue recedes before the joy she sees in the eyes of the hostess and the entire family. She realizes how important it is for them to capture every moment of the children's lives. Anastasia uses her magical powers to summon Chaco. Blue sparks sparkle around her, creating a breathtaking atmosphere. Her small hands clench, showing concentration and determination. Chaco suddenly appears, cheering for his mistress and leaping straight into Anastasia's arms. His golden feathers sparkle in the air, creating a feeling of warmth and joy. Anastasia embraces him, expressing her boredom with him. Chaco, grunting sweetly, complains that he hasn't seen his mistress in a long time. His eyes light up with joy despite the grunts. Anastasia gently strokes him, happy to see him. These moments demonstrate their deep bond and friendship. Choco sadly asks why he hasn't been drafted for so long. He shares his sadness and loneliness spent away from Anastasia. The girl, understanding his pain, feels guilty for the long separation from her beloved pet. Anastasia explains that she has the ability to summon things from past lives. Chaco was with her in her 13th life when she was a devil. His loyalty and friendship are priceless to her, and she is happy to see him again. Memories take Anastasia back to a past life when Chaco was a great source of information for her. In one conversation, Chaco asks why he was named that way, to which she replies with a smile that he looks like chocolate. However, in her 19th life, Anastasia grew bored with everything. She spent her days in idleness, not needing to be informed. This boredom and indifference was the reason why she did not call on Chaco for 20 years. Chaco continues to complain that Anastasia doesn't pet him because he would love to. She replies that as long as he is there, she can't pet him. These cute moments show their tender feelings for each other and their sincere affection. Despite the circumstances, Anastasia realizes that Chaco is very lonely. He is the only one who can talk to her about her past lives, and she feels guilty for making him sad for so long. Anastasia notices that something strange is creeping into her dreams. Chaco, worried, clarifies if something is indeed creeping into his mistress's dreams. Anastasia feels anxious, but Chaco's presence around her makes her feel safe. Chaco asks in surprise if the place he has entered is the underworld. Anastasia calmly replies that it is a normal place. Choco is angry, believing that someone has invaded his mistress's sleep, and he is prepared to protect her even if he has to fight a powerful enemy. Despite his anger, Choco is willing to help Anastasia find the cheeky creature that has disturbed her sleep. He ponders, no matter how difficult it is, he will do his best for his mistress. His eyes glow with determination and devotion. Anastasia asks Choco not only to find the creature, but to learn more about the world. Choco, a little confused, asks why this is necessary. However, he is willing to do the errand, as it is important for him to understand the world his mistress lives in. Choco reminds Anastasia how she promised him not to limit himself to anything and to live in comfort. He recalls how she was promised 100 years ago that there would be no more pain. He worries for her, for all those promises seem like empty words now. Choco resents Anastasia for not calling on him for 20 years and enduring the suffering alone. He does not understand why she did this when he could have been there to help her. It is unfathomable to him, and he feels a deep resentment for her silence. Choco dislikes the fact that his mistress is constantly suffering and saving others. Every time she is in pain, he feels the pain along with her. He hates to see her suffer and is willing to do anything to make her life easier. Anastasia realizes that Choco has suffered along with her, but assures him that she is fine. She is grateful for his care and devotion, but tries to convince him that she can handle her problems on her own. Anastasia reflects on the fact that the longer she lives, the more likely she is to be betrayed. She is willing to endure pain to protect her life and prevent further suffering. This is a heavy burden for her, but she bravely accepts it for the sake of the future. Family accepts Anastasia with sincere kindness, giving her a comfort and warmth she has never known before. Her happy, albeit short life of 11 months has become a precious time for her. Anastasia, realizing that she can never return the love she has received, decides to repay these people by protecting them to the last and saving them from any harm, even if it takes destroying the world to do so. Anastasia, hugging her friend Chaco, lies in bed thinking about her wish in this life. She wants this world to be filled with happiness and tranquility. Choco, who has always been by her side, senses her anxiety and fatigue. Despite her determination, a shadow of doubt and fatigue is evident in her gaze as she remembers all the words of comfort that her loved ones have spoken to her. Anastasia turns to Chaco, offering to stand by him and protect her. She assures him that she will call on him in times of need, and Choco, with hope in his eyes, confirms his desire to be her protector because he truly wants to be. Chaco happily agrees to serve Anastasia and promises to be obedient and try his best. His wings spread in flight, symbolizing willingness and loyalty. He is determined to help and protect his mistress in all circumstances, inspired by her kindness and determination. In this magical world, according to Chaco, there is one empire and two kingdoms. The people here use sacred power and magic to accomplish their goals. The world seems familiar, but it hides its own mysteries and peculiarities that Anastasia and her faithful friend will have to uncover. Anastasia and her family live in the kingdom of Farshan, where both sacred power and magic are recognized. Not far from the duchy stands a magical tower that catches Anastasia's attention. Her family is trying to understand why such an important magical building is located here and not in the Empire. The Empire seeks to dominate the continent, and the presence of the magic tower must be crucial. However, it is possible that the secrets of this place are much deeper than one might assume. Anastasia feels that this mystery is important to her family and their entire country. Choco, sincerely apologizing to Anastasia, admits that he tried but could not find more information. His efforts have not gone unnoticed, but he is disappointed that he was unable to help his mistress as much as he wanted to. Nevertheless, his devotion is undiminished. Anastasia dreams of exploring the Empire despite the kingdom's limited powers. Her quest to learn more about the world and its secrets faces obstacles, but she does not give up hope. Her determination and desire to learn the truth grows stronger every day. She is confident that with the help of Chaco and her loved ones, she will be able to protect herself from evil intentions and discover the truth. Her mother's support and wisdom help her to stay calm and take her time, even though she wants to act quickly. Anastasia is working hard to grow faster and become stronger. Her activity and desire to develop can be seen in all aspects of life. Only her mom doesn't always notice her efforts, but Anastasia knows that this is temporary and she will soon reach her goals. Lately, Anastasia has been trying to grow faster, actively practicing walking, chair settling, and other little things. Her efforts do not go unnoticed by others, except for her mom, who does not always pay attention to her efforts. But Anastasia is not discouraged, knowing that her determination will lead to success. Anastasia's mother, watching her daughter with a smile, wonders why she is in such a hurry to grow up. Her surprise is mixed with tenderness as she sees Anastasia trying to grow up faster despite her young age. Her mom tells Anastasia that she just wants her to grow up healthy and remain her little daughter. These words penetrate Anastasia's heart, making her feel her mother's care and warmth, which gives her peace of mind and confidence for the future. These motherly words touched Anastasia deeply. For the past 2 months, her life has been calm and serene, which gives her hope that everything will continue to be fine. Her face reflects contentment and peace. Chaco is happy to note that this is the first time he has seen his mistress so calm and happy. He is proud to be of use to her and hopes that she feels his love and devotion, which grows every day. Anastasia laughs at her maid's feeding skills, finding her efforts amusing. Chaco doesn't stay away either, his playfulness adding to the fun of the moment, creating an atmosphere of warmth and joy. Seeing Chaco's cuteness, Anastasia smiles. Her maid, on the other hand, attributes her awkwardness to her diligent training after the festival. Anastasia, however, realizes it's a misunderstanding that needs no explanation and simply enjoys the moment. Anastasia realizes that she is the only one who can see Chaco. She sends him to check something, but even the mages can't see him. This gives her a special sense of importance and confidence in her powers and abilities. She is content that Choco can always be by her side, but his talkativeness sometimes bores her. Chaco, for his part, is perplexed by his mistress's oddities, but remains her loyal friend and protector. Anastasia meets Mikhail, who notices Choco and asks her how she got a puppy. She is surprised, as she thought she was the only one who could see Chaco. This encounter raises many questions and new doubts in her mind. Anastasia is amazed that Mikhail can see Chaco. She does not understand how this is possible and calls Chaco a toy to hide the truth. This moment makes her question how unique her abilities are and what else she doesn't know about her world. Anastasia was surprised that a boy named Michael can see Chaco, while even mages could not. She pondered why he had this ability, and it raised new questions and interest in her. Mikhail, upon approaching Chaco, begins to doubt that it is a living entity. He decides that it is probably just a toy, as he cannot fully grasp the reality of what is happening and tries to understand what is in front of him. Chaco realizes that Michael will now look strange, stroking a creature invisible to others. Anastasia realizes that this moment may be awkward for Mikhail and tries to distract him to avoid further questions. Mikhail begins to wonder about Anastasia's habits and preferences, remembering how she said she only likes Damien's toys. He wonders why she is now playing with something else, causing her slight confusion. When Mikhail asks if she doesn't like this toy, this makes Chaco wonder about her role and importance to her mistress, as well as her preferences and tastes. Mikhail suddenly thinks of a yellow dress that he thinks Anastasia might like. She is puzzled as to why he has such thoughts and tries to understand what exactly he wants to tell her, remaining slightly confused. Mikhail confesses that he likes rubies because they remind him of Anastasia's eyes. This compliment leaves her even more confused, and she doesn't know how to react, feeling mixed feelings. Anastasia intuitively realizes that if she continues to answer Michael, he will ask even more questions. She decides to remain silent so as not to complicate the situation, hoping that this will help him calm down and stop questioning. Mikhail, despite Anastasia's silence, continues to talk about his preferences, including fireworks and toys. She realizes that his interest in her life has not waned, but she doesn't know how best to respond to his curiosity. Anastasia begins to doubt the information Chaco has brought her. She ponders how much she can trust her friend and what other secrets and surprises this magical world may bring her. Anastasia watched Mikhail and his friend, trying to figure out what was going on. She heard Mikhail say he wasn't interested and thought he was being too chatty. It made her wonder about his intentions and character. Mikhail, known for his taciturnity, suddenly started talking about gem mines. This surprised Anastasia, as Duke Leventis was known as a man who rarely shared his thoughts in words. Anastasia couldn't believe her ears when Chaco brought her this information. She was puzzled and didn't understand why Mikhail was suddenly so talkative. It made her wonder even more about his true intentions. Anastasia also recalled learning a few things about Mikhail. He started walking on his own at 6 months old, which was unusual. However, he did not utter a single sound until he was a year old, which worried his parents a lot. All known doctors assured Mikhail's parents not to worry, as it was a temporary phenomenon. Thanks to this, Anastasia realized that her family is not strange at all, and that each child develops in his own way. Fortunately, after a while, Mikhail spoke his first words. It was a great relief for his parents, who had been waiting for this moment for a long time and were happy to see their son's progress. Mikhail walked up to his parents and told them that he could speak. This moment was a landmark moment for the family as they saw their son begin to communicate and express his thoughts in words. Rumors said that the Duke's family almost had a heart attack from such a long sentence. This surprise caused a wave of emotion among those around them who were used to the silent character of Michael. After this, Michael was nicknamed the child who does not speak unnecessarily. He became known as a person who communicates only when it is really necessary, which made his words even more meaningful. 2 years ago, after his parents died, Michael began to speak even less. His loss made him even more withdrawn and taciturn, which had a noticeable effect on his communication with others. After the death of his parents, Michael began to be sent to Anastasia's estate so that he could study and prepare for his role as heir. This was done under the pretense of lessons and studies, giving him the opportunity to be among people who loved and supported him. Among loving adults and peers, Michael finally felt like a child. He could laugh and play, forgetting for a while about his responsibilities and the mourning that followed him after the loss of his parents. This was a real salvation for him. However, it was strange that Michael did not get along with Laurentia, Anastasia's sister. Despite her friendliness and openness, Michael remained cold and aloof, which raised questions and perplexed others. Laurentia was always very friendly and easy to get along with people. Her warm nature attracted many people to her, and she quickly became a friend to those around her. With Mikhail, however, things were different. Michael, coming to the estate, tried to avoid socializing with Laurentia. He hardly spoke to her at all, as if they were strangers. This created tension and left Laurentia wondering why he was acting this way. Even Chaco was unable to find out the reason for Michael's behavior. There was too little information to draw conclusions, and it left everyone guessing what the cause was. Chaco tried his best, but could not find an answer. However, even though Mikhail didn't talk much, he was excessively talkative with Anastasia. She didn't understand why exactly he was being so open with her, and it caused her to question and misunderstand even more. Mikhail expressed his desire to hear that he was cool and to see Anastasia smile. His sincerity and desire to be recognized touched her heart. He relied on her help and support, which made their interaction special. Anastasia thought she would have refused if Mikhail had asked directly about the gift. But his request for help in another matter made her think and change her attitude towards him. He knew how to find the right words. Mikhail could not think of anything to give Anastasia for her birthday. His concern and desire to make her feel good showed his care and attention, which made him even closer to her and strengthened their friendship. Anastasia realizes that her birthday is approaching. She remembers that a whole year has passed since she was born in this strange house. Memories of time gone by fill her thoughts as she reflects on her unusual house and life in it. It has been almost a year since she was born in this house. Anastasia recalls all the joyful and exciting moments spent with family and friends. Every day was filled with happiness and care that surrounded her in this home. She reflects on how quickly time has flown by. Her childlike eyes reflect regret that beautiful moments pass so quickly. She feels that time rushes on inexorably, leaving behind unforgettable memories. Anastasia recalls her curse of not living past 20. This thought overshadows her happy memories and makes her think about the future. She knows that time is not on her side, and this is unsettling. Mikhail wonders why Laurentia has not come. He is surprised by her absence. This causes him anxiety and makes him wonder where she might be. Laurentia, having been instructed to call Anastasia and Mikhail, feels a strange uneasiness. She cannot understand why her friends have not come, even though she has called for them. Her mind is busy searching for an answer to this question. One of the maids informs her that the younger duchess is playing in the garden and suggests that Laurentia invite her to dinner. Laurentia gladly accepts this errand, knowing that she will be able to meet Anastasia and spend time with her. Laurentia, as she heads towards Anastasia, is excitedly thinking about her upcoming lunch with her. Her steps are light and quick, and she anticipates a warm meeting with her friend, hoping it will lift her spirits. Laurentia, upon meeting Michael, exclaims joyfully and introduces herself. Her sincere joy and friendliness create an atmosphere of warmth and friendship, which is especially important to Michael at this moment. Anastasia wakes up on a clear morning on the 3rd of July. Her thoughts are preoccupied with the day ahead and all the opportunities it will bring. She hopes that this day will be as bright and memorable as everything that has happened in the past year. Little Anastasia remembers how her 100th life began a year ago. During the summer, she was born again, as if reborn day by day. She feels excitement and anxiety, wondering if she can experience similar feelings again. Anastasia sits in the arms of a maid who is tying a pink bow on her dress. The girl looks in the mirror, feeling anxious. She is unsure of her feelings and wonders if she can even feel anything at all in a situation like this. Her red eyes and calm expression emphasize her inner turmoil and uncertainty. Today is Anastasia's birthday. She can't remember the last time she celebrated the day and wonders why no one is congratulating her. It's a reminder of how each year her birthday became a symbol of the allotted time. The harder her life was, the more it felt. Each year for Anastasia, her birthday became a symbol of her allotted time. Her life was full of difficulties, and this feeling only grew stronger. She stands in a dark, gloomy room, surrounded by shades of red and black, as if reflecting her inner pain and fear. The silhouette of a girl in a long dress stands out in the background, emphasizing her loneliness and the severity of her experience. Anastasia stands on the light-colored floor, her pink dress with white lace falling neatly to her feet, adorned with the same pink shoes. She reflects on how this time is completely different than before. It surprises her that even her own feelings have changed and she can't believe how different everything is. This moment is filled with quiet admiration and wonder at the change in her life. However, this time is different. Even to her, it is surprising. Anastasia feels a small pleasant joy rather than a burning sorrow. It's as if long-forgotten feelings have been rekindled. She watches something new and unexpected unfold before her. Anastasia stands next to her mother, who is displaying a variety of dresses hanging on a rack. The question of what dress the heroine of today will choose is in the air, creating tension and intrigue. Anastasia's gaze is fixed on the blue dress hanging in the air, which seems perfect for a special occasion. She is surprised and a little confused, her thoughts full of questions and expectations of the upcoming choice. Anastasia is faced with the task of choosing a dress. She wonders what dress to choose for today. Her mother tells her that today is an important ceremony, something like the traditional Korean holiday of Tolchabi. Little Anastasia begins to panic at the thought of choosing threads that could determine her fate. She's afraid she won't live past 20 years, or conversely, she'll live for 200,000 years. She doesn't like either option and is at a loss. Anastasia's mother explains to her that choosing a dress for her first birthday will show her future partner. She shows her a beautiful blue dress that should help in this choice. Anastasia realizes the importance of this moment and begins to seriously consider the choice. The mother tells her daughter Anastasia that a man can be a husband as well as a colleague and friend. She recalls how, as a child, she chose a pink dress and a ribbon with an emerald for Anastasia. Little Anastasia stands in front of her mother in that outfit, happy and enthusiastic. Anastasia's mother tells her how surprised she was to see the emerald and pink dress her daughter had chosen. She begins to think that this is the moment her partner became her husband. She considers her partner, who smiles and winks. Anastasia listens to her, paying close attention to every word. Anastasia realizes that for her mother, her partner is someone she trusts and loves. Her mother gently strokes Anastasia's head, telling her how they have a beautiful daughter. Little Anastasia smiles as she feels her mother's warmth and care, and she realizes that her parents love each other. Anastasia's mother is convinced that the first dress the girl chooses will determine her future and give her a reliable partner for life. She is sure of this and tries to pass on her belief to her daughter. Anastasia stands in front of the dress rack, trying to make the right choice. Anastasia reflects that in her past life she would not have believed such a prediction. It seems like incredible luck to her, but she still begins to hope that her choice will indeed bring her happiness and a reliable partner for life. She listens carefully to her mother's advice. When Anastasia's mother said these words to her, the girl has hope that it will happen someday. She feels that despite all the difficulties, the future can be bright and happy. Little Anastasia holds her mother's hand, finding support and confidence in it. Anastasia notices that the dress she has chosen is not a simple white one. She looks at it carefully, realizing that the fabric of this dress shines with different colors depending on the fall of light. She is surprised and delighted by this discovery, realizing its beauty. The fabric of the dress sparkles with different colors as the light changes, creating a magical effect. Anastasia notices the beautiful lace and ruffles on the dress, as well as the many precious stones adorning it: amber, emerald, ruby, amethyst, garnet, and diamond. She is amazed by this splendor. The little one is adorned with a pink ribbon, lying there thinking that she has realized what her mother's soul desires. She seems pensive and serious, realizing the importance of her realization. Her childlike face expresses a mixture of determination and tenderness, reflecting a deep connection to her mother and her hopes for the future. Anastasia understands what her mother wants, for her to have many reliable partners to support her on her life's journey. She feels grateful for her mother's care and guidance, striving to fulfill her expectations. She realizes the importance of her choices and their impact on her future. Perhaps in 100 lifetimes of despair, Anastasia could neither wish nor hope for the best. However, her mother does it for her, giving her the opportunity to believe in a brighter future. Little Anastasia stands in front of the mirror, reflecting on how much her mother cares for her and her dreams. 12 months have passed and they have flown by. Anastasia has changed, becoming more serious and determined. She stands in a beautiful dress with jewelry, her red eyes full of confidence. She realizes that her mother will always be there, supporting and guiding her. After the first birthday party, Anastasia is no longer surprised by the events that follow. She is ready for everything that lies ahead of her. Standing in a huge hall decorated for the party, she sees a lot of people and realizes that she is ready to face all the challenges that life will bring her. Suddenly, she sees her statue illuminated by spotlights. This stunning sight causes her to marvel and marvel. Anastasia, realizing that her family appreciates her enough to create this beautiful statue in her honor. Her heart fills with gratitude. Anastasia is amazed at the scope and creativity of her family. They are beyond her imagination. She wonders where they got such an idea and how they brought it to life. Every moment of this birthday party becomes a real discovery for her, full of joy and wonder. She sees her acquaintance, Michael, who greets her joyfully. He points to the statue and smiles, reminding her how important friendship and support from loved ones are. Anastasia realizes that her family and friends will always be there for her, helping her through her hardships. But despite the splendor and luxury of the world around her, Anastasia decides to look at something else. Her attention is drawn to Mikhail, who watches her reaction with interest. She realizes that not only external wealth is important to her, but also internal values and relationships. Anastasia's attention shifts to a huge and beautiful 5-story cake. She sees that on top of the cake is a figure with red eyes that resembles herself. This sight makes her happy and delighted, making this birthday even more special and memorable. Anastasia marvels at the beauty around her, realizing how much effort has been put into her birthday. It all seems like a dream to her. Everything is so beautiful and perfect. She feels loved and protected, enjoying every moment of this magical day. Anastasia's father calls her to join the family. She sees her family and feels part of a large and loving team. This day fills her heart with warmth and joy, strengthening her faith that her future will be bright and full of love and support. Anastasia's father, holding her in his arms, smilingly wishes her a happy birthday. Standing nearby are her mother, Laurentia, and Damien, all looking happy and joyful. The family celebrates this important day together, surrounding Anastasia with love and warmth. The girl feels protected and loved in the circle of relatives. The staff of the home also congratulate Anastasia on her birthday. They are full of enthusiasm and joy, promising to continue to take care of her safety. One of the maids says she is happy to be by Anastasia's side for a whole year. This confirms that there is an atmosphere of mutual respect and loyalty in the Duke's home. Anastasia holds her father's hand and answers a question about whether she chose her own dress for today. Her red eyes shine with confidence and joy. The dress, adorned with flowers and lace, emphasizes her special status and gives her confidence. One of the maids tells Anastasia that she is sure to have good people around her like this dress. These words give the girl confidence and make her feel even more secure and supported. Anastasia smiles as she feels the care and kindness of those around her. The family and servants all stand together, creating an atmosphere of unity and support. Anastasia reflects on the fact that perhaps they will all receive bonuses from her father after such a heartfelt congratulations. She feels part of a big and friendly family where everyone is ready to help each other. The whole Duke's house is filled with love and care. The servants put their hearts into the preparation of the holiday, decorating the house and preparing everything necessary for the celebration. Anastasia realizes how much effort has been put into this day and feels grateful to everyone involved in the preparations. Anastasia realizes that she is already surrounded by good people. She thanks them, happy that she will always have those around her who are ready to support and protect her. Her smile and shining eyes express her sincere gratitude and joy for the care that surrounds her on this day. Anastasia's first birthday in this life is filled with delightful and special things. A variety of sliced fruits for easy eating nicely decorate the birthday table. Every detail is thought out to make this day unforgettable and joyful for the little birthday girl. Pleasant music played by famous musicians fills the house with melodious sounds. Many gifts from various noblemen add a special atmosphere of celebration. Anastasia feels surrounded by care and attention. Every moment of this day brings her joy and pleasure. Anastasia thought it would be just a family celebration, but events unfold differently. Gifts from numerous noblemen and musical performances turn her birthday into a real celebration. She feels a little surprised, but at the same time happy, realizing how many people want to make her day special. Anastasia's father, with a smile and an outstretched hand, asks her to dance. Anastasia is surprised and a little embarrassed by this offer, but her eyes light up with joy. She feels that this moment will be special, and she cannot refuse her beloved father. Anastasia thinks about how she will be able to dance at her age. She agrees, but she is overwhelmed with excitement and uncertainty. Her eyes full of questions turn to her father, who looks at her with love and patience. She is ready to try despite her doubts. Her father gently holds Anastasia's hands, helping her take her first steps in the dance. They move together to the gentle music, and Anastasia begins to feel more confident. This moment fills her heart with warmth and joy, creating unforgettable memories. Anastasia realizes that eye contact is important to dance. She looks into her father's eyes, trying to follow his movements. Despite her excitement, she feels the support and love that helps her cope with her new sensations and enjoy the moment. Her father marvels at how well his daughter dances while holding her in his arms. Anastasia, smiling embarrassedly, realizes that her father is proud of her. This gives her even more confidence. They continue to dance, and Anastasia feels that this moment brings them even closer together. Damien and Laurencia also want to dance with Anastasia. They cheerfully run up to their father, reminding him not to keep all the benefits to himself. Michael also shows a desire to ask the younger Duchess to dance. Anastasia is delighted to see her family wanting to spend time with her. Anastasia's mother jokes that since her husband doesn't offer her a dance, maybe someone else will. Her father responds by emphasizing that he should only hold her hand. Anastasia laughs as she watches her parents' good-natured bickering, realizing that their love is strong and unchanging. Laurencia invites Anastasia to a slow dance so she can keep up with her older sister. Anastasia enjoys the dance, feeling secure and loved. She is happy to spend time with her family, feeling their love and care, making her life brighter and happier. Dancing to a familiar tune, Laurencia remembers dancing to it last year. Anastasia, impressed by her sister's stamina, tries to keep up. This moment strengthens their bond, and Anastasia feels supported and inspired by her loved ones. After an active dance with her sister, Anastasia is a little tired, but Mikhail invites her for another dance. She agrees with a smile, realizing that these moments create unforgettable memories. Mikhail, laughing happily, takes her hand and they continue to have fun at the party. Anastasia's father and mother dance together, immersed in the music and the joy of the moment. Next to them, Damien remembers dancing to this tune as a child, and Laurencia joyfully shouts, "Yay!" cheering them on. This family togetherness fills the house with warmth and love, making this day special. Mikhail, holding Anastasia's hands, notices her smile. He marvels that she is smiling at this moment. Anastasia, a little embarrassed, tries to assure him otherwise. This innocent interaction between them creates an atmosphere of lightness and joy, making their dance even more memorable. Michael decides that they should learn to dance together more. He wants the younger Duchess to dance as beautifully as she smiles. Their dance becomes a symbol of friendship and support, strengthening their bond. Anastasia feels happy and confident around Michael. Anastasia looks at Mikhail and thinks that he will not give up. A smile full of joy and determination shines on Mikhail's face. Anastasia's eyes express surprise and admiration at his perseverance. This moment reflects their growing friendship and mutual respect that grows stronger every day. Anastasia realizes that his persistence no longer irritates her, but rather inspires her. She begins to dance with him as if he were her family, feeling support and warmth. These moments create a strong friendship and mutual understanding, making them closer to each other. The party ends in the afternoon, but the parents allow the servants to party until late in the evening. In the evening, the family spends time together. Anastasia is already able to run around, and this makes everyone happy. Family moments fill the house with happiness and comfort. Laurentia happily tells her that she saw everything that was going on. She asks Anastasia if she enjoyed dancing with her sister and brother. Anastasia embarrassedly admits that she enjoyed it. These moments strengthen family bonds and fill the house with joy and laughter. A year has passed unnoticed. Mother, father, and children spend the evening together, sharing memories and plans for the future. Anastasia is still getting used to the family coziness, but already feels more comfortable and confident in the circle of relatives. The family ties are getting stronger every day. Her father says he will put Anastasia to bed tonight. He takes her in his arms, and she feels the warmth and care coming from him. These moments make her happy and secure. Anastasia realizes that her family will always be there for her, supporting her in all her endeavors. Anastasia feels a touch and closes her eyes. She tries to keep herself from falling asleep, thinking that she must stay awake. Her red eyes fill with fatigue, but she still fights the urge to fall asleep, trying to stay awake and stay awake. Anastasia meets a mysterious child in a white cloak who greets her. She recognizes him and remembers seeing him earlier. Golden chains fly around them, creating a mystical and ominous atmosphere, filling the moment with tension and anticipation. The child chides Anastasia for being impolite, reminding her that she didn't want to see him. He asks her if she wasn't interested in meeting him again. His mysterious behavior alarms Anastasia, but she tries to remain calm and understand what is going on. The child explains that he waited a long time for Anastasia to open the door and considered it an invitation. His words sound strange and frightening, increasing the tension. Anastasia tries to make sense of what is happening, realizing that this meeting could be important and dangerous at the same time. Anastasia declares that she didn't invite him and demands that his identity be revealed. Her red eyes are full of determination and distrust. She wants to understand who is in front of her and why this child is so insistent on entering her life. His answers only add to the mystery and tension. The child expresses sadness that Anastasia has forgotten him. His words sound hurtful and cryptic, making Anastasia wonder who he really is. She realizes that he cares that she remembers him, but still can't connect him with anything familiar. The child changes his appearance, asking how she likes his new face. His transformation amazes Anastasia, making her wonder about his capabilities. She realizes that this child is not as simple as he seems, and his abilities may be much stronger than she thought. Anastasia marvels at how easily the child changes his appearance, even in his subconscious. She tries to understand his power and how he can adapt so quickly. Her thoughts are overflowing with questions, but the answers still seem out of reach, which makes her anxious. She admits that despite his best efforts, she still can't figure out who he is. In response, the child offers to give her a clue, hinting that the answer may be closer than she thinks. Anastasia waits tensely, realizing that the clue could change everything. Suddenly, a vision of her first life appears before Anastasia. She's amazed at how the child recognized this appearance. Her heart sinks with surprise and fear. This moment plunges her into memories that seemed long forgotten, but are now resurfacing. The child explains that he can easily embody her appearance from the past, confirming that he truly understands her. His words sound frightening yet soothing at the same time. Anastasia realizes that this child knows more about her than she ever thought possible, and that knowledge could be a clue. He says his time is up and he needs to leave. The child apologizes for his insolence last time and says he will look forward to their next meeting. Anastasia was perplexed by the situation. He said when she would find him, calling her by the name Anastasia had in her first life. She was shocked because of the fact that he knew her name, but the girl didn't hear what he said and wondered. Anastasia starts to wake up and she feels sick and realizes that it is a disgusting feeling. She doesn't want to wake up because she hasn't found out everything she wants to know yet, and she is very worried about this information. Waking up, Anastasia realizes that this dream was short and was only for one night, not like last time. The girl also realizes that she woke up early because the maid who is watching her is still sleeping. Anastasia, holding her head, was shocked that the child knows her name. She is puzzled why this happens. The girl wants to know how it happened, and she is worried about it. It is very strange for her because how can this child know her name? Before she woke up, Anastasia heard him say her name. The girl is sure that it was a name from her first life, but she heard very badly. She wants to know because she is really interested and very curious. Through the dream, the girl realizes that she cannot forget anything because every detail is important. But trying to remember, she realizes that her consciousness is too blurred and she cannot remember all the details. Anastasia calls her friend Choco and tells him to find the tracker of the satchel, the child who invaded her dream. It's very important to her. He wants to help his mistress so that she considers him loyal. She's so interested, she can't stand it. He feels like he's going to faint. She wants to meet the child. She still has some questions for him. This time, Anastasia really wants to be told everything and tells the child to come, and she will open the door for him. The girl wants to ask him a lot of questions because she is interested in a lot of things. It's been 2 weeks Anastasia waited for the child to come, but he never came. She's still interested in old questions, and during this time, a lot of new questions have accumulated. The girl waited for him for a long time, called him many times. She wanted to meet him, but he never came. Her interest in this person does not cease to torment her mind. Every day she thinks about it. The mansion was in chaos because of Anastasia's temperature. Everyone was worried about her condition because at this age, fever can be very dangerous and Anastasia is very important to everyone. Anastasia decides to calm down and think things through. She thinks about the first version, that this child was reborn just like Anastasia. This is the first version that came to the little girl's mind. Anastasia thinks that the accumulated power allows that child to use her past guises. He knows about her first life and can just as easily materialize it. She wants to get close to him to find out. The second theory the girl comes up with is that this child is the instigator of her rebirths, like he's an absolute or God. She thinks about these versions and wonders which is the right one. After thinking about it, the girl realizes that the words about understanding are not suitable, and according to the second version, this child should be an enemy for the girl. And now she's even more confused. But after thinking about it, the girl realizes that she is not at all sure about the second version. After all, if he was her enemy, why would she come a second time? Anastasia is now more inclined to the first version. Anastasia's friend Chaco arrives, and she asks him if he found out anything. Chaco apologizes to her for not being able to find out anything about the child. There was no information about him at all. She's surprised that he couldn't and asks if he found a place. Choco says he did because if the lady hadn't given him the clue, and if he hadn't found it, he wouldn't have been able to return out of shame. Choco returned with a report that the trail led him to the Axian Empire. It was faintly tangible, but Choco tried his best, overcoming mountains and difficulties along the way. Axian, he said, gave him a strange sensation, and Choco didn't like what he felt. The Axian Empire was distinguished by its magical energy, which was quite different from the pure and beautiful power of the mistress. Choco was troubled by this difference and felt that this place was filled with something suspicious and dangerous for them all. According to the information Choco was able to gather, the Axian Empire is full of strange and suspicious things, from unusual magic to the struggle for continental supremacy. It's a place that carries a threat, and it pays to be on guard to protect the kingdom. Anastasia recalls that for a whole year she has not thought about her destiny, leaving these reflections aside. She sits on the floor of her room, surrounded by toys, and cuddles her faithful pet Chaco. Her gaze is directed out the window, where she can see the bright day, and it seems that this moment of silence and tranquility helps her to think about her future actions and make important decisions. Anastasia pondered on the fact that the Axian Empire is under suspicion as the main cause of the destruction. Her kingdom could be among their targets, so she needs to be prepared for any surprises. Clenching her fist, she resolutely set out to defend her homeland from any possible threat, realizing the responsibility resting on her shoulders. Anastasia vowed to protect her family's peaceful life to the end. She realized that this was her duty and the only way to thank her family for the love and care they had given her. Suddenly, Laurentia burst into the house with news of an urgent matter, causing Anastasia to gather herself. Perhaps these were the first signs of destruction or attack, and immediate action was needed. Anastasia realized that she needed time to prepare. She decided to check the situation first and make sure she was serious so she could make the right decision and protect her loved ones later. The family goes on a long-awaited trip full of joy and fun. In a cozy carriage, Anastasia sits next to her mother, who smiles and gently supports her daughter. Laurentia waves her arms cheerfully, expressing her enthusiastic mood. All the family members together are enjoying the moment, anticipating the new adventures and unforgettable experiences that await them on this journey. The family has finally made it to a place they couldn't go 2 years ago. Everyone happily discusses the memories, and the mother asks with a smile if Damien remembers that moment. Laurentia, full of energy, also joins the conversation, lifting the spirits of everyone around her. Anastasia, watching this scene, feels a little insecure, as if she is experiencing something important and exciting. Anastasia observes the surrounding landscape with delight. It reminds her of her friends' stories of family trips from her past life. She feels mixed emotions, joy and slight sadness. The father informs the children that the destination is just a short distance away. Everyone is eagerly awaiting arrival, especially Anastasia, who sees the world in a new way with the family she loves so much. The mother suggests that Anastasia look at the scenery from the window. The girl happily agrees. They sit together, enjoying the view and each other's warmth, strengthening their bond. The family's carriage rushes along the green roads. The whole family enjoys their vacation while the world around them remains at peace. However, Anastasia has a premonition that something unexpected might happen. The family has arrived in the village of Ella, located in the lands of the duchy. This place they have heard so much about now greets them with hospitable villagers ready to welcome the ducal family. The villagers welcome the ducal family. They are happy to see them with their children. The warm welcome and the smiles on the faces of the greeters create an atmosphere of joy and unity. The father notices the heat and offers them a rest. They thank him for his care. Anastasia watches, proud of her father and his generosity. Her father offers the locals some refreshing ice, which they gratefully accept. Anastasia, watching this, noted to herself that her father was indeed an outstanding duke. The care and generosity he showed left no one in the village indifferent, creating an atmosphere of gratitude and admiration. Anastasia decides to use the time to practice walking. She was always occupied with other things in the mansion, so now she enjoys the freedom and the opportunity to just walk. As she walks, Anastasia notices that the villagers are looking at her. She's a little embarrassed, but realizes that they are curious and friendly, and it makes her feel special. The locals watch in admiration as Anastasia, who is only a year old, walks confidently. The women are amazed at how quickly she has mastered this skill. They address the girl with admiration and offer her candy, noting how sweet and talented she is. Anastasia's mother warns her to be careful around strangers, reminding her to be cautious. The girl, trying to follow her mother's advice, is attentive and wary. She realizes the importance of these words, despite her youth, and tries to be careful. Anastasia decides to listen to her mother and stays away from strangers. However, she is intimidated by people's stares and tries to be careful. Her childish heart fills with anxiety, but she tries not to show her fear and holds herself with confidence. The people around Anastasia cannot contain their curiosity and admiration. They discuss her chubby cheeks and offer various sweets to win her favor. The girl feels herself in the center of attention, a little embarrassed by so much care and attention to her person. Little Anastasia seems confused by so much attention from others. The women offer her fruit and try to please her in every possible way. The girl feels a little depressed because of the hype around her, but she tries to remain polite and grateful. Anastasia's mom assures her that everything is fine and she can approach people. The girl feels more confident thanks to her mother's words. Despite her fears, she decides to trust her mother and tries to be brave in approaching people around her. Anastasia feels fear, but decides to trust her mother's words. Her gaze is full of determination and anxiety at the same time. She realizes that she must be brave despite her fears and tries to deal with them for the sake of trusting and loving her mother. The locals marvel at the unusualness of the younger mistress. They ask her to say please, which perplexes the girl. Anastasia feels uncomfortable with this attention, but tries to remain polite and courteous despite her inner doubts. One of the women offers Anastasia a piece of watermelon, advising her to chew it thoroughly. The girl accepts the gift with gratitude, realizing that it is a sign of goodwill on the part of the locals. Her little heart is filled with warmth from such a gesture. Anastasia looks doubtfully at the piece of watermelon in her hands. Her childish thoughts are full of anxiety, but she decides to taste the treat. She carefully bites into the fruit, hoping that everything will be okay. Her determination and courage overcomes her doubts, and she enjoys the taste of the watermelon. Anastasia held a slice of watermelon that the locals had given her. At first, she doubted whether to eat it, but eventually realized that it was her reward for her walking training. The watermelon was much tastier than she expected, which brought her joy and satisfaction. A local woman expressed her joy that Anastasia liked the watermelon. She was glad that the girl was full, even though she had not eaten a full meal. This was a show of kindness and care on the part of the local people. Anastasia pondered how a simple watermelon could cause such joy to those around her. She was surprised that even such an insignificant act could bring people pleasure and evoke positive emotions. It made her think about the value of simple things in life. Sitting under the tree with the locals, Anastasia felt a part of their world. She realized that despite all the strange things that were happening in her life, she wanted to believe that she could be an ordinary girl. This sense of ordinariness brought her comfort and joy. Anastasia's family arrived at a cozy cottage surrounded by beautiful flowers and greenery. They decided to spend 2 days here to relax and enjoy nature. This cabin looked like the perfect place for a family vacation, where they could forget all worries and just be together. Laurencia, dressed in a bunny outfit, was playing merrily, trying to imitate a rabbit. She looked happy and carefree, enjoying her childhood. This moment was filled with joy and playfulness, reflecting the carefree nature of childhood. Damien, for his part, was dressed as a deer. He was a little self-conscious about his outfit, but his mom reassured him that it was okay. This moment showed the care and support of the family, which helped the children feel comfortable and confident. Anastasia was dressed in a tiger costume and felt a little out of place. She felt like she didn't fit the image she was wearing. But despite this, she tried to adapt to the situation and accept it. Anastasia's brother and sister hugged her, expressing their joy and support. They found her cute and funny in her tiger cub costume. This moment emphasized the importance of family bonding and how children can support and enjoy each other. Anastasia's father suggested that the children go boating to complete their family time. He strived to make the day memorable and joyful for everyone. This moment symbolized family unity and the desire to have fun adventures together. Anastasia looks at her father with curiosity and slight bewilderment as he announces the upcoming joy boat trip. She is not yet familiar with the concept, and she tries to imagine what exactly could be so fun about the boats. Her eyes read both interest and doubt, which makes her even more charming. When Anastasia saw the boats decorated with funny animals, her surprise was replaced by a slight disappointment. She thought about how her father had spent money on something so unusual again. The boats did look fun, but to her it seemed a little strange and unexpected. She wondered how much fun it would be to ride around on such boats. Damien, full of excitement, tried to share his emotions with Anastasia, talking about how gorgeous the boats were that they had seen. Anastasia, though she couldn't fully share his enthusiasm, quietly agreed that they were indeed interesting. She stood beside her brother, trying to figure out what it was about the boats that had caught his attention. Her father, hugging his daughter gently, said he loved her very much too, just as he loved Anastasia and Damien. Mutual love and warmth fill the atmosphere, making this day especially meaningful for the whole family. Laurencia, all excited, admires her father and confesses that he is the best for her. Her sincere emotion and joy touches everyone present, making this moment even more memorable. The father, tenderly hugging his daughter, says that he loves her very much too, just as he loves Anastasia and Damien. Mutual love and warmth fill the atmosphere, making this day especially meaningful for the whole family. Damien asks his father to allow him to swim in the water by himself without getting in the boat. Though his father allows it, he still reminds his son to be careful. The father's care and attention is evident in his every word and gesture. The father confesses that he thought Damien would want to have fun with his sisters, implying that family events are always more enjoyable in the company of loved ones. This moment emphasizes the importance of family ties and shared joys. Laurencia eagerly awaits her turn for the boat ride, pushing her father and wanting to be first. Her father reassures her, asking her to take her time and enjoy the moment. Their dialogue shows love and understanding. The father promises that after Laurencia, it will be Anastasia's turn. This moment shows how important it is in a family to pay attention to each child, creating an atmosphere of care and equality. Anastasia feels like an important and meaningful part of her family. On a sunny day, Laura and Anastasia's father, a pink-haired man, helps his youngest daughter Laura into a wooden boat. Laura, happily accepting his help, promises to be patient, as befits a kind older sister, and waits for further instructions. Father tells Laura to wait in the boat for a while he runs a few errands. Laura, slightly worried, asks him to return sooner, but still agrees to wait, watching him leave. Suddenly, the boat with Anastasia starts to rock and she falls into the water. The stranger who appears, a boy with black hair and red eyes, also ends up in the water. Her father rushes to help, but the situation becomes tense. Anastasia, realizing the strange behavior of the water, notices an unnatural gust of wind that seems suspicious to her. She begins to worry for her safety, especially given the danger of the environment. Laura, frightened and concerned, calls out to her father when she sees her sister Anastasia in a dangerous situation. Her scream echoes along the shore, heightening the drama of what is happening. A stranger, a man with white hair and green eyes, rushes to her aid, trying to calm the situation. He shouts to Anastasia and Laura to hold on tight, approaching them at high speed. The flow of water seems too fast and dangerous, the father remarks. He worries that if Anastasia hits the rocks while swimming so fast, the consequences could be very serious. Anastasia decides to take action by using magic. She creates a glowing ball of energy, determined to save her sister despite her fear and uncertainty about her abilities. Anastasia notices that she cannot control her magic properly and begins to panic. She tries to focus and figure out why her powers aren't working the way she would like them to. Deciding that she needs to protect Laura first, Anastasia uses a spell to cast a defense. She feels her power begin to concentrate and prays that it will work. Laurentia clings to the edge of the boat, looking forward in fear. Anastasia realizes that if she doesn't stop the boat, at least her father will be able to reach her. Her heart clenches with excitement, and she tries to find a way to save the situation despite her desperate situation. Suddenly, the wind direction changes, which scares everyone on the boat. The servant and Anastasia, trying to keep their balance, are faced with a new threat. Their faces express alarm, and they try to quickly figure out how to deal with the unexpected problem so as not to put themselves and Laurencia in danger. Anastasia's father, risking himself, throws himself into the water to help Laurencia. He pays no attention to the warnings that it is dangerous. His determination to save his daughter is admirable, but also fears for his safety. Finally, the father manages to grab Laurencia and pulls her tightly against him. She screams with joy and her eyes fill with tears of happiness. This moment is full of emotion and expresses the strength of a parent's love and willingness to risk everything to save their child. Laurencia, crying, explains to her father that she did nothing and the boat suddenly started moving on its own. She is shocked and tries to justify herself to her father, hoping he will understand. Her tears and trembling voice express deep shock and fear. Her father, reassuring Laurencia, explains that she has done nothing wrong and has been obeying him. He hugs her, trying to reassure her and show her that everything is all right. His smile and kind words help her to calm down and feel safe. Anastasia, watching what is happening, doesn't think anyone has noticed her magic. She suspects that these events are connected to someone's evil will, and her thoughts are busy searching for the culprit. She watches anxiously and realizes she must be careful. Anastasia feels the magic spinning out of control as her sister's boat malfunctions. An uncomfortable feeling overwhelms her, as if someone is trying to get into her body. She realizes that it is someone who comes to her in dreams, and she is overcome with fear and a determination to figure it out. Anastasia realizes that someone intended to kill her sister. She vows to never forgive this person, no matter what the purpose. Her face expresses determination and willingness to protect her family at all costs. Anastasia reflects on the fact that she's been strong throughout her life. She never thought she could be weak. These thoughts cause her to rethink her past and present, which further strengthens her resolve to fight for her loved ones and not give up. Anastasia, weakened after using magic, sits with a faded look in her eyes. She is exhausted and realizes that she has spent too much mana, which is now draining her of her strength. Her face expresses fatigue and frustration, for this is the second time she has experienced such a state. Her mother, alarmed by her daughter's condition, runs up to her and hugs her. She is relieved to see that Anastasia has regained consciousness, but her voice is full of anxiety. The mother fears for her daughter's health and is simultaneously relieved that she is awake. Anastasia's mother gently strokes her head, comforting and reassuring her. She thanks fate that her youngest daughter is safe. Her mother's gentle gesture and words of encouragement make Anastasia feel better, but the weakness still lingers. Listening to her mother's soothing words, Anastasia snuggles up to her. The mother says that she is too young to be outside for long, especially in this condition. These caring words make the girl feel warm and protected. However, Anastasia's thoughts remain troubled. She realizes that the reason for her weakness is not because of this, but because of the enemy's actions. Her eyes are full of determination, and she thinks that everything is because of the villain, and she does not understand why her mother blames herself for what happened. Anastasia promises herself that she will find the scoundrel. She is outraged at how he dared to ruin a little family trip. The dark aura around her expresses her rage and determination to find the culprit and punish him. Despite her best efforts, disaster comes from whence it is not expected. Her mother calls Anastasia to the table, reminding her that it is time to eat. This simple moment of family life emphasizes the contrast with the difficulties they have to overcome. The mother notices that Anastasia is not particularly excited about baby food. Her question expresses concern and care for her daughter. She wants to make sure that the baby is getting everything she needs and is feeling well. Anastasia feels unfairly left out when she sees the wind magic being used against her. She screams that it's not fair, realizing that her opponent is using her power whenever he wants. This situation makes her deeply resentful. Sitting alone in a dark corner, Anastasia contemplates how hungry she is and how she can dislike food. She realizes that the enemy is destroying everything that is made with love, and this makes her feel even more vulnerable and frustrated. Anastasia sat at the table, her thoughts preoccupied with worry. She realized that even her good-natured mother couldn't stand it and would get angry with her for her frequent illnesses. Her face expressed worry and concern for her mother's reaction. Anastasia's recent illnesses had irritated her mother. The girl was often sick, which depressed her even more. Her thoughts wandered, trying to find an explanation for her ailments and to cope with the guilt she felt toward her family. Anastasia's father looked into the room where her mother was discussing her daughter's condition. They both expressed concern that their youngest daughter was already 13 months old, and they expected this period to pass more easily. The parents tried to support each other during these difficult moments. The mother reassured herself that Anastasia had always been a calm girl and hoped that this period would go smoothly. Her gaze was full of hope and confidence that they would cope with the difficulties together. Her parents, noticing Anastasia's sadness, tried to find out what was bothering her. They realized that their daughter could not express her feelings in words, but they tried to find a way to support her. Their care and love were palpable in every gesture and word. The mother recalled that when she was Anastasia's age, Damien was also often irritable when feeding. She noted the similarities between her children and tried to find a common approach to their upbringing. Her memories brought a smile and a slight sadness. Damien indignantly denied his mother's words, claiming it never happened, while Laurentia listened attentively. His mother, laughing, assured him that he had always been sweet and ready for any situation. Her memories made everyone smile and filled the atmosphere with warmth and joy, reminding them of childhood pranks. Laurentia joined the conversation, exclaiming that she was the same way. Funny moments from childhood filled the house with warmth and joy. Parents smiled as they recalled how their children grew and changed, supporting each other. The father recalled that Laurencia always had a good appetite, but would cry if they were not around. He spoke warmly of his daughter, emphasizing how important it was for her to feel their presence and care. Her parents continued to reminisce about how Laurencia always wanted to be around her mom, dad, brother, and sister. These memories brought smiles and filled the home with love. The family realized that support and unity would help them overcome all challenges. Anastasia's father, with a soft smile, offered her baby food, wondering if it would be suitable for her. The girl with dark hair and red eyes answered in the affirmative, but her face still expressed doubt and uncertainty. Her father tried to calm Anastasia down, assuring her that he was not angry. He assumed that she wanted to eat something specific, but couldn't put it into words. His kindness and understanding made her feel better. Anastasia pondered why her parents were trying to understand her. She was used to the way everyone usually argued, even if the fault wasn't hers. Her sincere desire to do only good things for them evoked deep feelings and a desire to improve. Despite her best efforts, Anastasia faced setbacks again. Her hands shook and she accidentally knocked over a glass of water. Her helplessness and excessive strength, which turned into clumsiness, caused her suffering. As a result of this incident, her father fell and hurt himself. Anastasia, looking at him with regret, felt guilty for what had happened. Her eyes were full of worry for her father, and she was afraid that he would be angry with her. During the course of her worries, Anastasia realized the intentions of her enemy. He wanted to leave her alone, depriving her of the support of her family. This thought depressed her even more, reminding her how important it was to be surrounded by loving people. Her father, understanding her feelings, gently stroked her head. He knew she would have succeeded if things had been the way they were, but now he was there to support her in these difficult moments despite all the obstacles. Her father continued to smile, assuring Anastasia that he should be more careful. His kindness and care helped the girl feel more confident despite all the difficulties. She realized that in any situation he would be there for her. Anastasia recalled her past difficulties, realizing that no one before had ever given her as much warmth as this family. Her eyes were full of gratitude and love for her parents and brothers who had always supported her. Lying on the floor and studying the book with Laurencia and Damien, Anastasia realized that she had finally found her place. She realized that this was the normal family she had dreamed of for so long. Her heart was filled with joy and confidence in the future. Anastasia decides for herself that if she has the chance to keep this extraordinary life, she will do anything for it. Her hand gripping her pencil tightly, she writes, thinking about her family and how much they mean to her. Laurencia, Damien, and Anastasia sit together looking at the book. Anastasia vows that she will do anything to keep this happy life going. Her siblings smile, their faces glowing with joy and hope. Anastasia sees numbers in the book that confirm her thought that all will be well. She is convinced that she will be able to consider this life normal, despite all the trials she has been through. Although there were many hardships, Anastasia recalls the fun they had together. Laurencia sleeps on Damien's lap, and the moment is filled with warmth and peace despite all the experiences. At the end of the journey, Anastasia almost catches the one who wanted to harm her, but it was not possible to talk to him. Sitting on a rock next to her mother, she reflects on how close she was to figuring it out, but something prevented her. Laurencia, playing merrily on the beach, recalls how more than once they tried to leave her alone. Her joy and energy show that despite everything, she is not broken and is ready to keep fighting for her happiness. Anastasia realizes that her family has not given up in the face of hardship. Holding hands with Laurencia, she feels the support and strength that her loved ones give her, filling her heart with warmth and confidence. Anastasia reflects on her amazing loved ones. Instead of pushing her away, they have always accepted her for who she is. This feeling of acceptance and love makes her stronger and helps her overcome all obstacles. Anastasia realizes that without her family, the enemy would have been able to separate her from everyone else. She looks into the distance, thinking that this victory belongs not only to her, but to her entire family. Their love and support helps her through her hardships. If one were to ask Laurencia who she loves most in this world, she would answer without a doubt. Her heart is overflowing with love for her family, and every step she takes reminds her of how important these people are to her. Laurencia hugged her mother, exclaiming her love for her. Her heart overflowed with joy from this hug, and she felt that her mother was the most important person in her life. This moment was filled with tenderness and unconditional love. Laurentia's father took second place in her heart. His face, glowing with joy and slightly embarrassed, showed how important this recognition was to him. Damien, Laurentia's brother, was in third place, his smile expressing complete agreement. The past year had changed Laurentia's prioritization. With the arrival of a younger sister who reminded her of her mom, her love and care was distributed differently. This transition was an important moment in the family's life. Laurentia would exclaim her name in search of Anastasia, expressing her anxiety. She eagerly sought her sister, wanting to be close to her. It was an expression of her genuine affection and concern. She felt annoyed to see Michael constantly taking Anastasia away from her. Laurentia wanted her sister to be hers alone, and her face expressed her determination to get her back. Her jealousy was mixed with a sense of security. Anastasia and Michael played together, and he tried to connect with her despite her attempts to push him away. His friendliness and efforts to bring a smile to her face were genuine. He wanted to spend time together. Mikhail explained to Anastasia that he missed her and brought her a gift. He was happy to be near her despite her attempts to chase him away. His words expressed a deep desire to be with her, even if it required patience. Laurentia watched Michael with annoyance, considering him an enemy. She was certain that Anastasia did not love him, and her thoughts were filled with resentment. This situation made her feel helpless and jealous. Laurentia, though angry with Michael, was still afraid of him. His presence caused her contradictory feelings, fear and hatred. She couldn't handle it, but her love for Anastasia was stronger. She realized that Mikhail was tormenting Anastasia in her absence. Her rage boiled over, and she was ready to protect her sister at all costs. Her resolve was unwavering, and she was going to do anything to end this torment. Laurentia protects her younger sister Anastasia with firm determination, realizing that Michael fears her more than anyone. She stands in front of him, blocking his path while Anastasia timidly observes what is happening. Mikhail looks threatening, but Laurentia has no intention of backing down, showing all her courage. Anastasia, reflecting on the situation, concludes that if Michael were kind, she would have no reason to hate him. Her childish thoughts are full of innocence and hope for the best, despite the difficult circumstances surrounding her and her sister. Laurentia imagines herself as a knight rescuing Princess Anastasia from the terrible demon Michael. In her imagination, she sees herself defeating the enemy and protecting her sister, leaving all adversity behind. This image gives her even more strength and determination. She realizes her role in Anastasia's life, proudly declaring that she is her sister. This realization strengthens her in her intention to protect and support her little sister, despite all the difficulties and threats that may arise. When Laurentia returns home, she asks Anastasia if she has missed her. Anastasia's answer is short, but the look on her face and the sparkle in her eyes show how much she has been waiting for her sister and how happy she is to see her. Laurentia hugs Anastasia, worried about why she is awake. She senses that something is wrong and tries to find out what exactly is troubling her little sister, ready to help and support her at any moment. Laurentia notices that Laura usually arrives at the end of the day and Michael only shows up for dinner. This creates tension in the house, as their times are rarely the same, and everyone tries to avoid seeing each other. Anastasia thinks about how cold Mikhail is with Laurentia. She doesn't like the fact that her brother and sister cede their time to him, creating an atmosphere of alienation and misunderstanding in the family. She wishes things were different and that Michael would change. Laurentia and Anastasia laugh and hold hands. Laurentia admits that Anastasia has gripped her so tightly that she can't leave now. Their laughter and closeness shows how much they care for each other despite their hardships. Laurentia suggests that Anastasia play, trying to distract her from her worries. Anastasia, though not immediately understanding, agrees. They begin the game, forgetting their problems and enjoying the moment, giving each other joy and warmth. Laurentia suggests an expedition through the mansion to show Anastasia rooms she has never been to before. Anastasia happily agrees, excited by the adventure ahead and the promise of fun. Laurentia confidently leads her forward, embracing her sister. Although Chaco has already explored the entire mansion, Laurentia hasn't seen it in person and wants to walk through all the rooms herself. She plans to discover every part of this huge building for Anastasia, filling the day with new discoveries and joy. The servants, seeing Laurencia's determination and Anastasia's enthusiasm, also wanted to join the expedition. They offered their help and even decided to prepare a snack for all the participants to make the journey even more enjoyable and memorable. Laurencia insists that this is her and Anastasia's personal adventure. She wants to spend time just the two of them, without strangers, to strengthen their sisterly bond and enjoy each other's company without the distractions of others. The servants, surprised by Laurencia's determination, began to ask questions about the reasons for this expedition. They speculated that the girls might want to find treasure or just have fun exploring the mansion's secluded corners. The servants tried to persuade Laurencia to take them along, promising that they could then prepare a delicious snack for everyone. Laurencia thought about it, weighing the pros and cons, and Anastasia listened carefully to their suggestions as well. Laurencia decided to stay true to her plan and said that it would be okay to starve during the expedition. She was sure that she and Anastasia could manage on their own, and she wanted her younger sister to feel their special bond and closeness. Laurencia asks Anastasia if she wants to spend time just the two of them. Anastasia nods confidently, supporting her older sister's idea and expressing her desire to spend the day together exclusively, without strangers. Laurencia gladly takes Anastasia's hand, and they set off together to explore the mansion. Their joyful voices and laughter fill the hallways, making this a special and unforgettable day for both sisters. While the girls are enjoying their adventure, Mikhail notices Anastasia's absence from her room and becomes concerned. He suspects that something has happened and decides to find out where the girls are and why they have disappeared. Laurencia enthusiastically suggests that Anastasia explore one of the unexplored rooms of the mansion. Little Anastasia was a bit skeptical, but seeing her sister's joy, she decided to join the adventure despite her doubts. Anastasia began to realize that her sister Laurencia did not quite understand the complexity of this expedition. She looked at her older sister with slight concern, realizing that something unknown and possibly frightening awaited them. The servants watched the girls leave and were sure that going out on the expedition alone would be incredibly difficult. They worried for the safety of the little masters, but realized that Laurencia was determined. Anastasia hoped that no more people would join them. She wanted to spend this time with just Laurencia to feel her support and care, avoiding the extra attention and fuss from the servants. When they reached the first room, Laurencia excitedly announced that this was their first stop. Anastasia was excited, but at the same time had a slight fear of the unknown that awaited them behind the door. The room they had chosen to explore emitted an ominous aura. Anastasia could feel its powerful influence and was a little nervous, but she held Laurencia's hand tightly, ready to walk towards the fear with her sister. When they knocked on the door, they were greeted by a surprised servant. He had not expected to see the girls here and asked anxiously what had brought them to this place. Laurencia confidently explained the purpose of their visit. Laurencia informed him that they had come to see their father. She explained that Anastasia had never seen him at work before and was eager to get to know this part of his life. The servant agreed, understanding their desire. The father greeted his daughters with joy, glowing with happiness. He hugged them and warmly asked them if they missed him. The girls were happy to see him and felt his love and support. After meeting her father, Anastasia shared her feelings about the room. She confessed that she felt a strange aura that bothered her. Laurencia promised to look into it to protect her sister from possible dangers. Anastasia, watching the servants at work, felt sympathy for them. She understood how difficult it was for them to fulfill their duties, especially when there was so much tension and uncertainty around them. Her heart filled with pity for the poor workers facing hardship. At one point, when Laurencia and Anastasia came into the kitchen, they were greeted by spirits offering sweets and flower tea. These mysterious beings were friendly, but their presence evoked mixed feelings in the girls, ranging from curiosity to slight fear. Laurencia and Anastasia's father was strict and demanding. He gave instructions to the workers, expecting a report in 2 hours. His serious tone and facial expression inspired respect and slight awe in everyone present, emphasizing his authority and importance. The father joined the girls at the door, ready to escort them out. Laurencia and Anastasia were glad of his presence, feeling secure around him. He listened to them carefully, trying to understand what they were up to and how he could help. The father asked with a smile what his daughters wanted. Laurentia and Anastasia happily told him their plans, admiring the way he looked and worked. To them, he was an example of strength and wisdom, which inspired them to discover more. Laurentia, turning to Anastasia, confirmed that their father is really cool, especially when he does something impressive. Anastasia, admiring her father's sword-wielding skills, expressed her agreement and admiration for his skills. The father suggested that the girls go to the training ground. His proposal aroused a storm of emotion in Laurentia and Anastasia, and they gladly agreed, expecting new impressions and lessons from their father. However, Laurentia unexpectedly refused. Her emphatic no surprised her father, but she explained that she and Anastasia were exploring the mansion today and could not change their plans. She was determined to spend the day in her own way. Her father, surprised by his daughter's stubbornness, tried to change her mind. He recalled how Laurentia had always admired his skills, but the girl remained adamant, explaining that their exploration of the mansion was important and could not be postponed. Laurentia firmly stated that they could not leave the mansion as it was the site of their expedition. Her determination and conviction in her words emphasized how serious she was about her promises and plans, reinforcing her father's respect for her. Anastasia wondered why Laurentia didn't want to go to the training ground. She remembered that Michael was probably there, and that could be the reason for her sister's refusal. Anastasia realized that Laurentia just wanted to avoid seeing him. Her father asked in surprise why they couldn't stay here longer. His reaction was quite violent, but the girls explained that they had important plans and didn't want to change their minds. Their persistence earned their father's admiration and respect. The girls reminded their father that their mother forbade them to distract him from his work. The father, hearing this, tried to convince them that they were not distracting him. He understood how important it was for them to spend time together and supported them in doing so. Laurentia reminded her father of his own words that good children should not do things that their mother doesn't like. She tried to be obedient and follow these rules, setting an example for her younger sister Anastasia. Laurentia shared with her father that she ate peppers and spinach to be good. She wanted her father to be good too and keep working. Her sincerity and effort touched her father, making him respect her determination even more. Laurentia's memories transported her to a time when her mother taught her not to make mistakes. She recalled how she tried to follow her instructions so as not to let her mother or father down. Her desire for discipline was sincere and deep. Anastasia watched her sister and thought of Laurentia teaching her father discipline. Her childlike understanding of situations was heartfelt and touching, showing how she absorbed everything going on around her. Laurentia tried to explain to Anastasia that the father had to be a good adult too. She laughed and taught her sister important life lessons, showing how important it is to be responsible and disciplined, even when it's hard. Anastasia, watching Laurentia, couldn't help but smile. Her sister was so sweet and caring that it made her genuinely admire and enjoy herself. Anastasia felt happy around such a sister. At this moment, Father and Laurentia noticed Anastasia's smile. Their hearts were filled with joy and contentment seeing how happy their youngest daughter and sister was. It was a moment when everyone felt true family warmth and unity. Anastasia, a little girl with dark hair and red eyes, watches as her father, a pink-haired man, is reprimanded. He smiles and jokes, noticing that she is amused to see this. Anastasia disagrees. She just likes her sister. Pink-haired Laura, Anastasia's older sister, intervenes and scolds her father for setting a bad example. Her father excuses himself for not doing anything wrong, but Laura sternly points out his behavior. Laura, with the confidence of an older sister, declares that Anastasia agrees with her completely. She boldly asserts her position, showing that she cares about her younger sister and her upbringing. Laura explains to her father that if he wants praise, he should do something he doesn't like. Her confidence and persistence embarrasses her father, causing him to reflect on his behavior. The father doesn't quite agree, but Laura, as the older sister, insists on her opinion. She is convinced that she knows how to raise her younger sister properly and does not back down from her position. The main thing for Laura now is Anastasia's smile. She hugs her little sister, giving her warmth and care. Anastasia responds to her with the same genuine smile, showing how much she appreciates her sister. Lara decisively tells her father that they have moved on and bids him farewell. She confidently leads Anastasia by the hand, showing her care and responsibility for her little sister. Laura and Anastasia stand in front of the map, pondering where to go next. Their adventure is just beginning, and they are determined to explore new places together. Laura has prepared a bag full of snacks to make their journey comfortable and enjoyable. She thought of everything in detail to make Anastasia's trip fun and interesting. With her own hands, Laura made a map so that they would not get lost and could easily find their way. This shows how responsible she is and how much she loves her little sister, taking care of every detail of their adventure. Anastasia looks at her sister in amazement, thinking about how she has prepared herself to play with her. Her little heart is filled with warmth and joy at Laura's attention. Laura, realizing that they couldn't play often because of the incoming guests, apologizes to Anastasia. Suddenly, Laura notices something under her feet, and her mood instantly changes. Suddenly, Anastasia loses her balance and begins to fall. Her small hands try to grasp the air, her eyes fill with fear. This moment seems like an eternity for both sisters. Laura screams Anastasia's name in terror, realizing that the situation is out of control. Her heart sinks, and anxious thoughts of her sister's safety flicker through her mind. Anastasia ends up on the floor, and panic-stricken Laura asks how she is feeling. At that moment, their mother approaches them, adding more excitement to the tense situation. Anastasia tries to defend her sister, explaining to her mother that Laura didn't do it on purpose. Laura, standing next to Anastasia, looks depressed and guilty, feeling the severity of what has happened. The mother gently explains to Laura that Anastasia is still too young and needs to move more slowly. Laura realizes that she needs to be more careful and caring to avoid similar incidents in the future. Despite her mother's consolations and Anastasia's attempts to protect her sister, Laura is still upset. She feels guilty and cannot hold back her tears, realizing her responsibility. On this day, Laura did not feel like a good big sister. However, she decides that next time she will only show Anastasia her best side to earn her trust and love. To Laura, Anastasia is a true princess, and she herself is her knight. Laura decides to be a protector and support for her sister, doing everything she can to make sure Anastasia is always happy and safe. Laura comforts Anastasia after her fall, promising to be a knight to her and protect her. Anastasia feels the warmth and care of her older sister. Her heart fills with gratitude. Laura now confidently promises to hold Anastasia's hand to keep her from falling again. Her smile radiates love and care, showing how much she cherishes her sister. Under Laura's guidance, the exploration of the mansion begins in earnest. The girls watch with interest the chef, who puts on a real fire show in the kitchen, striking their imagination. In the garden, under the gentle summer sun, Laura and Anastasia enjoy tea with their mother. The mother carefully inquires if Anastasia enjoyed the treat, creating a cozy and warm atmosphere. The girls have fun playing hide and seek among the hung laundry. Laura, laughing, hides behind the white sheets, and Anastasia follows her with a smile, feeling the joy of playing together. Laura, reading a book, is engrossed in the story. Unlike her brother, her voice is not as soft and calm, but Anastasia likes it. To her, it sounds like the melody of a beautiful summer day. Anastasia is immersed in the story her sister tells. Her voice reminds her of the sounds of a sunny day, which brings her peace and joy. The girl feels protected and loved. Anastasia begins to fall asleep, thinking about what could have caused her fatigue, the long walk or the treat she ate. Her eyes slowly close and she sinks into sleep. Laura watches with wonder and joy as Anastasia falls asleep. Her heart fills with pride, for she was able to lull her sister to sleep, giving her a peaceful and sweet sleep. Laura looks at Anastasia with surprise and delight as she realizes that her gentle voice and caring reading has lulled her sister to sleep. She can't believe she was able to do this, her eyes wide and her hands covering her mouth in amazement. In this moment, she feels joy and pride in her new role as big sister. Laura looks at Anastasia and reminds her with a smile that she is her little sister. She feels a warm connection and tenderness as she sees Asya resting her arms around her toy. Reflecting to herself, Laura notes that Anastasia is her sweet sister, not Michaela's. She feels especially proud of her role as big sister and strives to protect her at all times. Suddenly, Damien appears, wondering why he wasn't called. He feels a little left out and wants to join his siblings to share in the fun and games. Damien asks to be taken along on the expedition since it is for two, but he hopes he can be a part of their fun adventure. He looks fondly at Laura and Anastasia lying under a warm blanket. Laura recalls how they spent almost a week exploring the mansion. It was an exciting time, full of discovery and new experiences. She rarely stayed in her room during the day, preferring to spend time with Anastasia. Mikhail notices Anastasia's absence from her room. He wonders where she has gone and if she knows something about it. He too wants to join in her games and fun. Anastasia, lying in bed, remembers how one boy always looked sad when he came here. He would not succumb to the charms of Mistress Devilis, which left a look of sadness on his face. She reflects on how she avoided this boy and wishes she had spent more time with him. She feels sad at the thought that he had to wait so long for her attention and friendship. Laura, overjoyed, shows Anastasia her treasures, chocolate, and other treats. She wants to please her little sister and make her day even more special and happy. Anastasia smiles and thinks that she can't refuse such an offer. Let Michael be a little sad, but she will spend this time with her favorite sister, enjoying moments of joy and love. Anastasia and Laurentia are getting ready to go for a walk. Laurentia cheerfully asks if they want to go somewhere, to which Anastasia answers in the affirmative, holding a box of supplies for the walk. They are both anticipating an interesting time, getting ready for a new day. Mikhail suddenly appears in the room with a backpack, announcing his intention to go on an expedition. His determined look surprises Anastasia and Laurentia, and the latter exclaims his name in surprise. The situation begins to heat up, as Mikhail clearly intends to keep them company. Michael explains to Laurentia that he wants to take a walk with the younger mistress. She assures Laurentia that she has all the necessary things for the expedition. Mikhail, however, asks to take him along, promising to be helpful. Laurentia becomes nervous and hesitant about what to do next. Laurentia tries to contradict Michael, saying that she doesn't want to take him with her, but he doesn't back down. The situation escalates and Laurentia suddenly loses her balance. Her anxiety and fear become evident as she begins to fall, screaming, "No!" in agony. Anastasia and Michael look at Laurentia in shock and concern. Their faces are full of fear and worry for their friend who has just fallen. They don't know what to do next, and it creates a tense atmosphere, waiting to see what will happen next. Laurentia, having come to her senses, decisively declares that they don't need anyone but her and Anastasia. She persuades Mikhail not to go with them, insisting on her decision. Mikhail doesn't understand why they don't want to take him, as he has prepared himself and thinks he can be useful. Mikhail tries to explain that he is not bothering anyone with his presence, but Laurentia continues to insist. He feels hurt and misunderstood, wondering why he is seen as a problem. Anastasia watches their argument in silence, sensing the tension. Anastasia finally intervenes, accusing Michael of being cold and indifferent to Laurentia's feelings. She points out to him his facial expression, which seems insincere to her. Michael, confused and hurt, tries to defend his intentions. Mikhail tries to prove his usefulness by recalling what he learned from Damien. He asks why he can't go with them since he's ready and knows a lot. Anastasia and Laurentia continue to stand their ground, not knowing how to resolve the argument. Laurentia screams that Michael is not their brother, finally refusing his participation in their walk. She runs away, leaving Michael and Anastasia bewildered and confused. The situation becomes even more tense and the conflict is not resolved. Anastasia notices that Michael is once again looking at Laurentia as if his words might hurt her much more than they hurt him. She feels that his attitude is causing Laurentia more pain than herself. This causes her irritation and anger that she can barely contain. Laurentia angrily replies to Michael that no matter how hard he tries, he will never be like his brother. Michael doesn't understand why Laurentia feels this way and why he can't be part of their group. His insistence only adds fuel to the fire. Laurentia cries out in frustration that Anastasia does not love Michael. She defends Anastasia by holding on to her and showing her determination to keep her away from Michael. Her voice is full of determination and desperation as she tries to get her point across. Michael does not understand why Laurentia thinks that Anastasia hates him. He is certain that she is his sister and should love him. Laurentia, on the other hand, cannot accept his presence and continues to protect Anastasia, preventing Michael from getting close to them. This is the first time Anastasia sees Laurentia so angry. Her determination and anger surprise her. She realizes how willing Laurentia is to fight for her and protect her from Michael despite all the obstacles. Michael stands to the side, amazed at what is happening. His face expresses confusion and pain. He feels rejected and misunderstood, not knowing how to respond to such a strong negative reaction from Laurentia and Anastasia. Anastasia feels a sense of déjà vu, remembering how Michael used to always cry in similar situations. She thinks about how repeating such scenes only makes their relationship worse. It becomes hard for her to see everything repeating over and over again. She realizes that if she starts crying, their relationship will only worsen. Anastasia decides to restrain her emotions so as not to complicate the situation. Mikhail stands by her side, feeling guilty for what is happening, but not knowing how to fix the situation. Mikhail realizes that in order to reconcile them, he must first understand that the younger Duchess does not hate him. He begins to analyze their relationship, trying to find a way to improve it. His resolve strengthens again, and he decides not to give up. He recalls that Anastasia never seriously asked him to leave. She only asked him to step away. Mikhail begins to realize that maybe things are not as bad as he thinks. He decides to try to patch things up with Anastasia, hoping it will help make things right. Laurentia, hugging Anastasia, asks if she loves her more than Michael. Anastasia confirms this, reinforcing Laurentia's feelings. Their bond seems unbreakable, causing Michael to have new doubts and worries about his place among them. Michael claims that he never said that the younger Duchess loves him more. He simply feels that she does not hate him, which is already a great comfort to him. However, his words remain misunderstood by Laurentia, who continues to defend Anastasia. Michael hopefully offers to take him on the expedition, believing that his lack of hatred is already a sufficient argument for this. His words are filled with hope and persistence. He sincerely wants to be part of their adventure, despite all the obstacles. Laurentia flatly refuses, stating that the expedition is her and Anastasia's secret. She does not want Michael to join and tries her best to keep this secret between the two of them, feeling that their bond is unique and inviolable. Laurentia loudly shouts no, expressing her strong disagreement with Michael's proposal. She's already turned him down and does not understand why he continues to insist. Laurentia's inner monologue is full of despair and incomprehension. Her tears begin to flow. Laurentia, crying, says that she hates Michael because he plays with her brother every day, and now he wants to take away Anastasia as well. Her tears and screaming express the depth of her pain and jealousy. She cannot accept Michael's presence in their lives. She loudly declares that Anastasia is her sister, not Michael's. Laurentia cannot hold back her tears, her voice shaking with emotion. She demands that Michael leave them alone and not interfere in their relationship, seeing him as a threat to their bond. Laurentia screams in desperation for her mother to take Mikhail away. She only wants to play with Anastasia. Her scream echoes throughout the room, expressing her complete incomprehension and unwillingness to accept Michael's presence in their lives. Anastasia looks on in confusion and asks where her mother is. At this moment, everyone else enters the room, watching the dramatic scene. Their presence only heightens the tension, and Laurentia continues to cry. Anastasia's mother observes the scene, her face expressing thoughtfulness. She believes it is better to let the children sort things out for themselves so that they can learn to deal with conflict. Her gaze is full of wisdom and calmness. She believes in their power to find common ground. Interfering in children's affairs is pointless until they realize their problems. Anastasia realizes that adults can only complicate the situation, and she has to sort out her own feelings and relationships with others, learning from her mistakes. If the family intervenes, Mikhail will feel even more alienated. Despite his maturity and seriousness, he is still a child who needs support and understanding. Intervention will only exacerbate his feelings of isolation. Mikhail lives with this family at the request of his grandfather. Having recently lost his parents, it is difficult for him to fit into a new environment. His surroundings seem alien and unapproachable to him, despite the best efforts and support he receives. This transition is proving to be too difficult for him. Laurentia's brother Damien understands Michael and tries to help him. He goes out of his way to help him, trying to create an atmosphere of support and understanding. But this is not enough, as Laurentia remains aloof, not accepting Michael and his attempts to connect. In time, Michael's wounds begin to heal. However, he still does not understand why Laurentia is avoiding him. Their relationship remains strained, and Michael finds it difficult to cope despite Damien's support. Laurentia never complains to others about what she doesn't like. She is always upset about other people's mistakes and tries to comfort others, even if she herself is suffering. Her angelic nature does not allow her to express her displeasure openly. Several times Laurentia tried to reach out to Michael, but each time he pushed her away. This only increased her feelings of rejection and misunderstanding. Michael, for his part, felt uncomfortable and did not know how to properly respond to her attempts to get closer. Damien suggests that Michael try to develop a relationship with Laurentia. He realizes that this is important to all of them and tries to find a way to help Michael and Laurentia find common ground. His proposal is filled with a sincere desire to reconcile the children. Michael admits that he would like to get along with Laurentia, but she avoids him. His words are full of sadness and regret. He does not know how to change the situation, but is willing to try if it will help to establish relations and create harmony in the family. Damien advises Michael to reach out first. He is sure that it will work and help them find common ground. Mikhail thinks about this advice, realizing that initiative could be the key to solving their problem. Mikhail, after gathering his thoughts, apologizes to Laurentia, admitting that he did not know he was hurting her. His sincerity touches Laurentia, and she begins to realize that perhaps things are not as bad as she previously thought. Michael continues to apologize, wondering why Laurentia hates him. He genuinely didn't realize that his actions hurt her and now wants to make things right. His words cause Laurentia to have mixed feelings, and she doesn't know how to respond. Michael looks at Laurentia with genuine regret. He admits that he truly regrets what happened, hoping that she will understand his feelings. Laurentia begins to reflect on her emotions and how they have affected their relationship. Laurentia decides to explain to Michael that she prefers to be called Laura rather than mistress. She feels more comfortable being called by her first name, as knights and maids do. Her words help Michael to understand her better. Michael realizes that he was the only one who called Laurentia mistress and realizes that this may have caused her displeasure. He realizes that he was wrong and wants to make amends. Michael, looking at Laurentia and Anastasia, asks if Laurentia will forgive him if he starts calling her Laura. Laurentia replies that she is fine with it if Anastasia agrees as well. Anastasia, observing this scene, thinks about what is happening, expressing mild surprise. Anastasia, seeing this scene, agrees that she doesn't mind if Michael calls Laurentia Lara. Her support gives Michael confidence, and he feels that he has taken the first step toward reconciliation. Their mutual agreement strengthens their bond. Anastasia notices that Laurentia is still upset. Her caring and desire to help her sister leads her to start thinking about how to support Laurentia in this difficult moment. Her thoughts are filled with compassion and love. She realizes that Laurentia will not openly talk about her feelings. Anastasia decides to hug her, hoping it will make her sister feel better. Her actions show the deep connection between them and the desire to help each other. Laurentia feels better by hugging Anastasia. She asks if Anastasia loves her the most, receiving an affirmative answer. Their hugs and words of love strengthen their sisterly bond, showing how important they are to each other. Anastasia's mother speaks to Michael with a kind smile, offering him more to eat. Her words are full of care and warmth, creating a cozy atmosphere at the family dinner. Laurentia, sitting nearby, also seems content and relaxed, enjoying the moment with her family. Michael sits at the table and gratefully accepts the invitation to dinner. He is a little embarrassed, but promises to eat whatever is offered to him. His words show respect and gratitude for the warm welcome, which creates an atmosphere of trust and friendliness. Outside the door, Anastasia's parents are discussing that they won't have to interfere in their children's affairs, as they seem to have already made up. Their conversation is filled with relief and hope that the situation will resolve itself without their intervention. Anastasia's father asks if everything will be okay, to which her mother replies that the children need time. They discuss the need to let the children figure things out for themselves and mention that they are Laurentia's parents and are worried about her condition as well. Laurentia's mother worries that Michael may have upset her father, to which Ogun reassures her, explaining that this is why they did not intervene. If the situation had been serious, they would have taken action, of course, but this time they decided to watch from the sidelines. Anastasia's mother explains why they did not intervene in the children's conflict. She is sure that if it had been a serious quarrel, they would have taken action. But in this case, she thinks it is right to let the children sort out their own feelings and relationships by watching from the sidelines. Anastasia's mother confidently says that this time their job is just to observe. Her calmness and confidence show that she believes in the children's ability to figure out their own problems. Her wisdom and approach emphasize her experience in parenting and understanding child psychology. Anastasia accidentally overhears their conversation and feels the need to apologize for it. She reflects on how wise her parents are and how their approach helps her and Laurentia better understand their feelings and relationships. She realizes that her parents are really good adults and is proud of them. Anastasia realizes that their wisdom and kindness helps her grow and become a better person, which makes her feel grateful and respectful of them. She compares them to her longtime mentor, who was also an example and source of wisdom for her. Anastasia feels the connection between those who have helped her throughout her life and sees how those lessons affect her present. He, although he did not spend much time with Anastasia, was the only person she could call a teacher. When he needed to be stern, he was stern. When he needed to be soft, he was soft. Her teacher was her example and mentor. The memory of her teacher's last will is vividly imprinted in the girl's mind. He asked her to swear that she would not go into the flames alone. Those words were the last thing he said to her before he left this world. The girl could not hold back his will despite her best efforts. The look in her eyes is full of sadness and regret, for the promise she made to her teacher was sacred to her, but she was unable to fulfill it. Memories of the past break her heart. Remembering the moments when she gave her whole soul to her work and suffered, the heroine realizes that she is afraid to experience such pain again. Anastasia sits at the table, looking at the fork in her hand and the plate in front of her. Her large red eyes express concern, though she tries to convince herself and those around her that everything will be all right. The inner conflict is clearly visible on her face, for despite her words, she feels anxious and unsure. Damien, with a kind smile on his face, turns to his sister Anastasia, offering her help. He notices that she is not doing well and is willing to support her in her time of need. His sincere desire to help and his concern for his sister create an atmosphere of warmth and support. Anastasia, looking at her brother, feels his attention and care, which gives her confidence and reassurance. Mikhail, with a joyful smile and shining eyes, offers Anastasia a taste of a delicious dish. His care and attention to his sister is evident in every movement, creating an atmosphere of warmth and cheerfulness. Anastasia, sitting next to him, looks at her brother with some doubt, but his positive attitude helps her feel more confident. Mikhail tries to make dinner a pleasant and joyful moment for Anastasia, filling it with care and love. However, Damien notices that Anastasia can't eat such large bites yet. Mikhail wonders, haven't her teeth grown in already? But it turns out that not all of them have. Anastasia's inner musings reveal her anxiety and uncertainty. She admits that she won't be able to eat this dish, feeling that someone is deliberately trying to make her angry. Damien explains that Anastasia is still a child, and if she eats it, she will cry. Mikhail genuinely wonders if this is true, showing his involvement and concern for her. Mikhail apologizes to Anastasia, feeling guilty for something. The girl looks at him with understanding, although conflicting emotions are raging inside her. Their mutual forgiveness strengthens their bond, and Mikhail promises to be more attentive to his little sister in the future. Anastasia reflects on Mikhail, recognizing that he sometimes gets on her nerves, but she feels strangely calm around him. Her emotions are mixed, but she realizes that there is more to him than just annoyance, because he is important to her. As a result, Michael sets out on an expedition with Anastasia and Laurentia. They are ready for new adventures and exploring uncharted places, which causes a sense of excitement and joy for all three of them. Their expectations and dreams fill their hearts. It is a busy time before Thanksgiving and other holidays. Autumn leaves are falling, creating an atmosphere of anticipation and preparation for the celebration. Everyone around is immersed in the hustle and bustle of planning how best to celebrate the approaching festivities. On such days, one can take a quiet walk, enjoying the silence and beauty of nature. Anastasia strolls through the park, thinking about her worries and enjoying the peace, which gives her a chance to relax a little from the bustle. After Michael and Laurentia reconcile, the children begin to play together. Their games are reminiscent of medieval knightly adventures, full of imagination and fun. Friendship and harmony are back in their little company, giving it a special spirit. The game Find the Treasure starts with joyful shouts and fun. The children are eager to begin, imagining what treasures they can find. Their eyes shine with anticipation and they are ready for new adventures. Laurentia, upon hearing of the treasure, cannot contain her excitement. Her eyes are wide open and she eagerly awaits the game to begin. Her enthusiasm infects everyone around her, giving the game a special atmosphere. The organizers announce the rules of the game. The participants will be divided into pairs, and the winner will be the one who brings the most treasures found. All the children listen attentively, preparing for the beginning and anticipating the fun and excitement of the competition. One of the participants, looking interestedly at the organizers, asks what the winner will get. This question adds intrigue, and all the participants begin to think about how best to play in order to achieve victory and get the coveted prize. Anastasia heard that if the Duke wins, he will be able to challenge the Lord to a fight. This news shocked her, for such events could change their lives greatly. With apprehension and curiosity in her eyes, she tried to realize the importance of this information and what it could mean for them. Michael, full of enthusiasm, asked little Anastasia if she thought he would be cool if he hit the Duke 3 times. Her surprised look spoke volumes, for she had not expected such a challenge from him. Mikhail, as if trying to prove something to himself and others, craved recognition and respect. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Mikhail decided to take this step to fulfill her wish. She looked at him with admiration and faith that he would be able to cope. At that moment, a special bond of trust and support was established between them. An overjoyed Michael could not believe his ears when he heard the confirmation from Anastasia. He glowed with pride and confidence that he would be able to fulfill his mission. Deep down, however, Anastasia felt guilty for him, realizing the hard road ahead of him. After what had happened, Anastasia decided not to tell Michael about her displeasure with him. She realized that behind his actions was a deep loyalty and a desire to protect her. This realization changed her attitude towards him and strengthened their friendship. Laurentia, with her pink hair, did not understand why Michael continued to play with Anastasia despite her hatred for him. The question tormented her, for she saw how hard Mikhail was trying for them all. Worry and misunderstanding filled her heart. In her argument with Michael, Anastasia's sister had accidentally uttered words that she used to say out of habit. These words hurt Anastasia deeply, for she realized that behind them was her sister's true attitude toward Mikhail. This realization increased her guilt and sorrow. The moment Anastasia looked at her mistakes, she realized that it was all her fault. Red eyes full of tears reflected all the pain and suffering she was feeling because of her actions. She realized that she had to change something about herself to make things right. Mikhail, sitting with a book in his hand, seemed calm, but his eyes betrayed an inner struggle. Anastasia realized that outward calm did not always mean inner order. She realized that his struggle was much deeper than she could have imagined. Finally, Anastasia realized that Mikhail needed to be treated in a special way, like a child. She closed her eyes, immersing herself in thinking about how to change her behavior to support him during difficult moments. This thought helped her to see their relationship from a new side. Mikhail, radiant with joy, asked Anastasia if she could promise something. His smile was so sincere and warm that the girl could not resist and decided to give him her promise. At that moment, a special bond of trust and understanding arose between them. Anastasia, Michael, Laurentia, and Damien split into teams. They ended up on the same team, which caused mixed feelings among all the participants. Mikhail looked determined to win, and Anastasia and Laurentia supported him with their presence and belief in success. Michael, encouraging himself and Anastasia, asked her to take care of him. Anastasia, realizing the gravity of the situation, nodded, expressing her willingness to support him at any moment. Their interaction filled the atmosphere with warmth and friendly understanding. The blonde-haired boy promised Anastasia that he would definitely win for both of them. His eyes shone with determination and confidence in his own abilities. Anastasia looked at him with admiration, realizing that their common goal was truly important to them. Mikhail had promised to win, and the thought filled Anastasia with hope. They watched the flowers together, enjoying a moment of calm before the challenges ahead. Their conversations were full of support and inspiration, giving them strength to go on. However, Anastasia felt that Mikhail was leading her down the wrong path. Doubts began to creep into her heart, but she tried not to show it so as not to undermine his confidence. She had a choice to make, whether to trust Michael or follow her instincts. Suddenly, Laurentia joyfully announced that they had found something important. Anastasia looked at her in amazement, trying to understand exactly what had happened. A fire of hope and joy lit up in their eyes, for they had managed to find what they were looking for. Anastasia, despite her inner doubts, asked Michael if he really wanted to win. His answer was full of determination, but she sensed that there was something more behind it. This moment made her wonder about Mikhail's true motives and goals. Mikhail, noticing Anastasia's anxiety, asked if she was worried about him. His words were filled with warmth and concern, which made Anastasia feel a little better. Their mutual support helped them cope and move forward. Anastasia, sensing that something was going wrong, tried to express her concerns. However, Mikhail, full of determination, continued to believe in their success. Their hands clasped tighter, symbolizing their willingness to go through the ordeal together despite their doubts and fears. Mikhail and Anastasia walked under the fall trees, enjoying the moment. Mikhail remarked that it had been a long time since they had played together, and he felt good now. His words made Anastasia smile because they were finally spending time together, which filled her with joy and warmth. Mikhail went on to say that he was confident in himself and his abilities. His confidence inspired Anastasia because she saw him as a true friend and protector. This moment was important to them, strengthening their friendship and mutual understanding. They decided to go to the place where Mikhail had seen the morning training of the knights. He suggested this place because he wanted to show Anastasia something special. Anastasia thought Mikhail was being sly, but his sincere desire to surprise her warmed her heart. Anastasia expected Mikhail to be in a hurry, but he walked beside her slowly and confidently, like a true brother. It made her feel secure and important to him. They held hands, enjoying the moment and each other's company. Mikhail remembered Damien's words telling him that if a child wanted to see or do something, they couldn't say it outright. It made Mikhail think about how to be more attentive to Anastasia's wishes and support her in everything. Michael decided to follow Damien's advice and be more attentive to Anastasia during playtime. He wanted her to see the same wonders that he did: butterflies, flowers, leaves. This desire to make her happy filled his heart with warmth and joy. Anastasia thought about her brother's words. She remembered how Damien had always been attentive and caring to her. This realization made her feel special and important as Mikhail tried to be as good a brother as Damien. Mikhail vowed to study harder so that he could be as good an older brother as Damien. Those words touched Anastasia deeply, for she saw how much effort he put into their relationship and caring for her. She was proud of him and believed in his success. Mikhail asked Anastasia with confidence if she could say his name. It was important to him, for he wanted to be significant in her life. Anastasia, smiling, sensed how important her recognition and support was to him. They continued to walk under the fall trees, holding hands. Anastasia tried to pronounce Mikhail's name, but she failed. Despite this, Mikhail was happy that they were together and supported her every step of the way. Their friendship and mutual support made them stronger. Mikhail, hiding his face under the shade of the trees, asked Anastasia if she hated him. His voice was full of uncertainty and fear that these feelings could ruin their friendship. Anastasia replied that she did not hate him, soothing his worries. Michael, delighted by Anastasia's response, offered her with a smile to be his little sister. His offer was sincere and full of warmth. He wanted her to feel like she was part of his family. Anastasia felt a wave of joy and appreciation. Anastasia realized that from the beginning she had been like a little sister to Michael. Her red eyes reflected surprise and slight embarrassment. She realized that their relationship had been like this for a long time, and this realization filled her soul with warmth. Mikhail easily climbed the tree to retrieve the hidden treasure. Anastasia and their guard watched him from below, marveling at his agility. She wondered how he managed to be so brave and confident in his actions, despite all the difficulties. With joy, Michael announced that he had found the treasure and ran to Anastasia, holding it in his hands. Anastasia was amazed that they had hidden the treasure in such a place and thought it was too easy. Nevertheless, she was pleased with his success and smiled. Anastasia reflected on the fact that the children were probably counting on the knight's help to retrieve the treasure. She had watched Michael try to get it on his own, and his determination admired her. His willingness to deal with any difficulty was inspiring. They discovered that there were 6 treasures in all, and the brother and sister had already collected 5 of them. Anastasia and Michael were determined to find the last treasure and win this challenge. Their efforts and cooperation became more and more cohesive and confident. Anastasia, realizing that time was running out, decided that they would most likely win. Her confidence was growing by the minute, and she believed in their success. Their efforts were about to bear fruit, and she looked forward to this moment of triumph. Michael, holding out the treasure he had found to Anastasia, asked her to tell him that he had done well. He was looking for her recognition and support, for it was important to him. Anastasia felt a slight embarrassment, but was ready to support him in this. Anastasia noticed that Mikhail was acting particularly silly with her today, but his request seemed simple to her. She felt guilt towards him, but also gratitude for his efforts. Their relationship was growing stronger, and she was ready to support him in everything. Anastasia praised Mikhail affectionately, stroking his head and calling him a good boy. Mikhail felt incredible joy at this simple gesture. His face lit up with happiness. Anastasia felt that she could not disappoint him because it was really important to him. She didn't want to upset the man who was so happy about the simple gesture. Mikhail was glowing with happiness. His smile was sincere and warm. This moment filled Anastasia with warmth and pride for her friend who so appreciated her support. The 3 knights announced the winners, and it became known that the Duke and Lady Anastasia were victorious. Michael was immensely pleased that their efforts had succeeded. Anastasia was happy too, for they were able to handle all the trials together. Laurentia congratulated Anastasia on her victory, even though she felt a little sorry for losing. Her words were sincere. She was happy for her friend. Anastasia felt grateful and warm, accepting the congratulations with a smile and slight embarrassment. The knight announced that Laura and Damien had also found the treasure and could take it as a prize. Michael, Anastasia, Laurentia, and Damien were overjoyed with their accomplishments. They stood proudly together, accepting well-deserved awards for their efforts. Laurentia was thrilled that they could actually take the treasure. Her eyes shone with joy and wonder. She could not believe her good fortune, and this moment was especially meaningful and memorable to her. The knight confirmed that the prizes did indeed belong to Anastasia and Damien. Damien got new boots, and Anastasia got a hat in the form of a knight's helmet. Their joy was genuine, as these prizes symbolized their hard work and perseverance. The knight also presented the award to Laurentia, and she accepted the gift with excitement. Her joy was genuine, for she really wanted this prize. Michael and Anastasia watched with smiles, happy for their friend and sharing her happiness. Laurentia was thrilled with her prize and couldn't believe it was meant for her. Her eyes shone with happiness, and she happily accepted congratulations. This moment was special to her, for she felt important and valued. The knight confirmed that Laurentia had deservedly received her prize, for she wanted it so badly. She accepted the gift with delight, her eyes shining with joy. Laurentia was happy that her dream had come true, and she had gotten what she had longed for.